Tihar, I still remember every year in Tihar, I remember that 2009 ko Tihar especially because that time I was going through a big decision making process in my life. अनि अर्को एउटा आर्मीको एउटा राम्रो के छ भने ट्रेनिङ टाइममा they will attach you with someone as a battle buddy के त्यो नाम चाहिँ battle buddy भन्छ के उसको उनीहरूलाई थाहा छ everyone goes through the mental breakdown हैन physically challenging हुन सक्छ कि अब कति स्ट्रेस पैदा हुन सक्छ because it's a drastic change for everyone's life नि त जो पनि आएको छ हैन अब मेरो आफ्नै स्टोरी छ everyone has their own story हैन त्यो 35 faces they have 35 stories in that room हैन to sign as a leader it's not about you it's about your people भन्ने कुरा हुन्छ नि अब मैले मिलिटरीबाट पोजिटिभ साइडमा समराइज गर्दाखेरि लिएको कुराहरू भनेको त्यही हो टिम वर्क how you support each other yeah life can be challenging you can hit rock bottom many times how you build resilience that's one of the best part that you will learn and adaptability it's a teamwork it's not individual you're not going to get through this training if you have the individualism in mind once again what you need and what you want is different he was laying in the bed and thinking for himself he said yeah so I wished for life you know I maybe have taken it for granted or something if I had ended my life a couple of days ago I won't be here I won't be talking to you then the other perspective won't be there I think we get covered by such a big cloud of darkness that you don't have any other thought process you think that that's the only way out but you don't realize that the way out is just not ending for yourself you're ending for everyone actually at that point I never imagined I'll be data scientist you know and even with Microsoft was not even in my mindset at all so they sent me to the base naval base to work it was a cyber defense command so I was almost like a cybersecurity data analyst and then since that point of time I started building slowly more fascination toward data so I'm like okay so we do this you know like I can help my leader to make a right decision with data you know I can produce some value for the team for the product anything so we started your mindset like I want to actually work in data I started loving data in a lot of this whole journey I felt like I needed someone as a mentor I needed someone to guide me in career and I had no one even from my schooling to my plus 2 to my college even to apply whether to apply US for the undergrad or the graduate school my mom she taught me a life lesson that it may look bad you may look sad you may feel like everything dropped from your hand and you missed everything and you spoiled everything and there's no correction to anything but it can go back to the same status it just takes time to clean up.
Namaste everyone. Today we have Nirmal Budhathoki as our guest in Walks of Life. Nirmal Budhathoki, a boy from a small village near Kathmandu, Kusanti, came all the way to United States to complete his graduation in computer science and then worked as a US Army and currently working as a senior data scientist at Microsoft. He is a LinkedIn influencer, a content creator, a career coach and a philanthropist. And today in this episode, we'll try to get a glimpse of his journey of life. So, Nirmalji, welcome to the show.
Hazur, namaste. Thank you for having me, bhai. It's just a pleasure. I really wanted to do a really good podcast to come and share about my journey. And I think this is a great opportunity. So I didn't think about a second not to accept it. So thanks for having me.
Okay. Nirmalji, I wanted to start this conversation firstly with your journey in the US Army. How did you decide to join the US Army after having a master's degree in computer science? How was life in the US Army? How was your life in the US Army? What were your struggles? What were your triumphs? And that journey in your US Army, how did it shape you as a person at the moment? Can you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Interesting. So when I came here, US, 2007, in August, my college started on September 2007. On a 2 years master's program, I came. So 2009, I graduated. College, I did my undergrad in Nepal itself in computer science. I wanted to be in the computer like I wanted to get in the tech market as soon as I complete my graduation. Ani the dreams is everything that I have, होइन? तर after you graduated, during the college time also you kind of see some struggle, and last semester अलिअलि थाहा हुन्छ how is the market shaping. 2009 was not a good time, होइन? त्यो बेलामा ग्रेजुएसन भइसकेपछि अब recession was in the peak. अहिलेसम्म I think if you look into the data, the highest unemployment so far after 2000 was 2007. So अनि अब I have limited options, होइन? अब के गर्ने? I even try to find some jobs in the tech. I got a lot of interviews. Then once you share that, company asks whether we have to sponsor your visa, or even the question of all employment form mein huncha पहिला हुन्थेन, like they will ask you after you do the interview, and they say that could be a turning point. अब market was terrible itself, अनि I have limited options, होइन? अनि भएन, कतिपय रोलहरू अप्लाई गरेको पनि भएन, अनि अब बिस्तारै you start getting a little bit demotivated. अब like के गर्न सकिन्छ, होइन? It's hard. अनि I started looking what are the options. अब यो आर्मीको मलाई थाहा पनि थिएन, अनि मेरो त्यो बेलामा न्युयोर्क सिटीमा एउटा साथी बस्थ्यो, पहिला कलेज अन्डरग्रेड नेपालमा सँगै गरेको साथी, अनि उनले थाहा पाएको रहेछ यो म्याब्नी भन्ने प्रोग्राम, यो मिलिटरी एक्सेसन भाइटल फर नेसनल इन्ट्रेस्ट भन्ने छ एउटा म्याब्नी भन्ने प्रोग्राम चाहिँ एउटा युएस आर्मीको जनरल आफ्टर ही रिटायर्ड ही जोइन द युएससिआइएस, होइन? उहाँले चाहिँ इमिग्रेसन सिस्टम जोइन गरेपछि उसले चाहिँ अहिले हामीलाई युएस आर्मीमा we need more manpower, we need more people because we are dealing with continuous war. What could be a potential path to hire people so we can diversify our workforce? त्यो उसको मोटिभ त्यो थियो, होइन? उसले म्याब्नी सुरु गरेर रहेछ त्यो. I was not aware at all until I came to find out about the program, होइन? अनि त्यसमा चाहिँ अब they had minimum requirements, होइन? You have to be in states for at least 2 years. 2 years भित्रमा अरू कन्ट्री छोडेर युएस छोडेर अन्त गएर 30 days भन्दा बढी बसेको नहुनुपर्ने, अनि इमिग्रेसनकै सर्टेन चेक पोइन्टहरू थियो. फर्स्ट चेक पोइन्ट त्यो पास गरेपछि अब अरू उनीहरूको फिजिकल टेस्ट प्रोग्रामहरू नट टु टफ, अनि फेरि तिम्रो आइक्यू टेस्टहरू, होइन? अब आइक्यू टेस्ट पनि अब युएस आर्मीमा त्यो बेलामा लिनको लागि चाहिँ मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेन्ट हाई स्कुल ग्रेजुएट थियो. आई वाज अ मास्टर्स, होइन? अनि आई स द ग्याप, होइन? अनि फेरि अब त्यो जानी नजानी भनेर डिसाइड गर्नलाई आई वाज रियली डिबेटिङ माइसेल्फ. त्यो साथीले सबै कुरा डिटेल्सहरू रिक्रुटरको भनेपछि आई वेन्ट, आई मेट द रिक्रुटर, अनि ल यु हेभ टु गिभ मी तिम्रो इमिग्रेसनको साइड चाहिँ क्लियर छ, इफ यु वान जोइन यु जस्ट गिभ मी अ कल ब्याक, अनि यो भनेर भन्यो. अनि इट्स काइन्ड इन्ट्रेस्टिङ. त्यो म जुन अपस्टेट न्युयोर्कमा बस्थेँ, मेरो कलेज पहिला त्यहाँ अपस्टेट न्युयोर्क, अनि अपस्टेट न्युयोर्कबाट न्युयोर्क सिटी इज 2.5 hour ट्रेन राइड, होइन? इनफ्याक्ट त्यो ट्रेन राइड वेन आइ एम हेडिङ ब्याक आई अलरेडी ह्याड डिसाइडेड आई विल जोइन. बाँकीको त्यो घरमा गएर फेरि जब मैले त्यो मेन्टल त्यो गरेँ, त्यो इट वाज जस्ट ट्राइङ टु रिकन्भिन्स माइसेल्फ. आई वाज अलरेडी कन्भिन्स टु जोइन बिकज त्यो 2.5 hour राइडमा आई खाना डिड माई लाइक प्रोज एन्ड कन्स अफ जोइनिङ, होइन? के हुन्छ कसो हुन्छ. त्यो बेलासम्म नेपालमा माई फ्यामिली डजन्ट नो एनिथिङ द्याट आइ एम गोना बी जोइनिङ, होइन? आई अलरेडी मेड अप माई माइन्ड. अनि आएर अनि अब हुन्छ आई जोइन भने त्यसपछि तिम्रो फेरि रिक्रुटरले बोलायो, अनि रिक्रुटरले बोलाइसकेपछि गएर सबै कन्ट्र्याक्टहरू साइन गरेँ. 4+ years मिनिमम गर्नु पर्थ्यो, होइन? अनि अब एउटा मनमा मलाई एउटा ड्रब्याक देखेको चाहिँ अब आई वोन्ट फाइन्ड अ टेक रोल इमिडिएटली, होइन? किनकि रिक्रुटरसँग कुरा गर्दा उसले चाहिँ अब हामी त इन्टरनेसनल स्टुडेन्ट एज अ जोइन गरेर छौँ, हाम्रो त जोइन गर्ने बित्तिकै सिटिजन हुँदैन, होइन? दे हेभ टु प्रोसेस द्याट, अनि द्याट समन हेज टु क्लियर अल द ट्रेनिङ्स, सबै कुरा गरिसकेपछि गर्नुपर्छ. अनि रिक्रुटरले भनेअनुसारको चाहिँ अब यु वोन्ट गेट दि आइटी जब्स द्याट यु लुकिङ फर, किनभने मैले पहिल्यै कुरा राखेको थिएँ उसलाई म चाहिँ यस्तो गर्नु इच्छा छ मेरो भनेर. अनि अब कतिपय जबहरूमा क्लियरेन्स चाहिने हिसाबले भएको भएर मिल्दैन, होइन? सिक्युरिटी क्लियरेन्सहरू हुँदैन सिटिजन नभइकन. सो लेटर यु क्यान चेन्ज ट्रान्जिसन टु द रोल, तर अगाडिको अप्सन्सहरू चाहिँ यो भनेर दियो, होइन? अनि अब इट्स लाइक भेरी लेबरस वर्क भेरी अब त्यो जब रोल्सहरू डिस्क्रिप्सनहरू पढ्दै गएँ मैले मिलिट्रीमा एमओएस भन्छ होइन मिलिटरी अकुपेसन स्पेसलिस्ट होइन अनि हरेकको कोड हुँदो रहेछ अनि त्यसले यो कोडहरू चाहिँ यो एप्लिकेबल टु यु फर दिस प्रोग्राम होइन अनि किनभने मैले रिटर्न इक्जाम दिइसकेको थिएँ अनि त्यसमा मेरो राम्रै स्कोर थियो अनि त्यसपछि सबै जब एलिजिबल चाहिँ थिएँ म जहाँ चाहिँ क्लियरेन्स नचाहिने कि अनि अब सी ड्राइभर होइन अब इओडी अब जुन तिम्रो गएर बम डिस्फ्युज गर्ने टिमहरू होइन जहाँ चाहिँ उनीहरूलाई हेभी रिक्वायरमेन्ट छ नि चाहिन्छ नि मान्छे बढी त्यो रोल्सहरू थियो त्यो चाहिँ मैले अब इमिडिएटली अब एक्सेप्ट गर्नलाई फेयर भन्दा पनि अरू कुरा भनेको अब लाइक अब इट्स नट द थिङ द्याट आई वान्टेड टु डु अब भोलि मैले गएर हाउ डु आई ट्रान्सफर माई स्किल्स होइन इभन इफ इट इज नट डिरेक्टली ट्रान्सफरेबल कस्तो कुरामा गऱ्यो भने चाहिँ भोलि मलाई मेरो गोल त भोलि आफ्टर 4 years आई हेभ टु गो ब्याक टु टेक करियर आई अलरेडी नो द्याट आइम गोना बी इन रिग्रेसन पाथ होइन मेरो टेकबाट त रिग्रेसन हुन्छ 4 years तर एटलिस्ट मलाई चाहिँ क्लोजेस्ट होस् ग्याप कम होस् भन्ने कुरा हो अनि त्यसपछि हेरेँ मैले अनि एउटा जब चाहिँ तिम्रो यो लजिस्टिक एन्ड सप्लाई टिममा चाहिँ यो वर्क एन्ड kind लाइक विथ द मेन्टेनेन्स फ्लिट भनौँ न भेहिकल्सहरूको होइन सबैको मेन्टेनेन्स फ्लिट रिपोर्टिङ यताउति गर्ने त्यो अब अहिले सोच्दाखेरि इट्स नट इभन क्लोज टु वाट आई डु होइन त्यो बेलामा चाहिँ द्याट वाज द बेस्ट अप्सन आई हेभ अनि त्यो जब हुन्छ आई विल डु दिस भने लिएँ जब सेलेक्सनहरू सबै भयो सबै अल्टिमेटली 90% डिसिजन भइसकेपछि आई कल माई होम अनि कुरा गरेँ ड्याडी मम्मीसँग अनि ड्याडीले चाहिँ नो हुँदैन अब त्यो इट्स बिग डिसिजन इट्स आई मिन उहाँलाई डर जुन फियर फ्याक्टर मलाई थिएन उहाँलाई चाहिँ छ त्यो फियर फ्याक्टर होइन अब छोरा जाँदैछ मिलिट्रीमा वेन युएस इज फाइटिङ लट अफ वर्स भोलि के हुन्छ कसो हुन्छ उहाँले चाहिँ अब इफ यु डोन्ट फाइन्ड अ जब इट्स ओके यु कम ब्याक विल डु समथिङ हियर होइन भन्छेपछि मैले कन्भिन्स गरेँ अब अहिले त्यस्तो छैन मेरो इमिडिएटली वार डिप्लोय भए पनि अगाडि फ्रन्ट लाइनमा जानुपर्ने रोल होइन विल वर्क इन द ब्याक साइड त्यस्तो हुँदैन भनेर कन्भिन्स गरेँ अनि त्यही पनि अब उहाँहरू अलिकति फुल्ली कन्भिन्स भइसकेको थिएन अनि त्यसपछि अब जब फाइनल भयो कन्ट्र्याक्ट साइन गरेँ सबै भयो सेप्टेम्बरमा आई साइन माई कन्ट्र्याक्ट 2009 होइन त्यसपछि दे गेभ मी 30 days इफ आई हेभ टु पुल ब्याक फ्रम द कन्ट्र्याक्ट अनि त्यो 30 days भनेको चाहिँ अनि आई थिङ्क अब अक्टोबर टाइम इज हाम्रो सेप्टेम्बर अक्टोबर हाम्रो फेस्टिभल टाइम पनि पर्छ नि यु नो राइट दसैँ तिहार पर्छ अनि अब आई वाज टकिङ टु माई फ्यामिली त्यो पुरै अब फेस्टिभल भाइब यताउति 2009 को तिहार आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर एभ्री इयर इन तिहार आई रिमेम्बर द्याट 2009 को तिहार चाहिँ स्पेसली बिकज that time I was going through a big decision making process in my life किनभने I had that 30 days to pull back होइन if not then I'm gonna commit for 4 years there's no coming back and that's what I feel like okay so our festival Tihar is all about lights all about seeing the positive things and I said okay I mean there's no looking back even if I feel dark right now होइन मलाई कति अनसर्टेनिटी छ कति अननोन्स छ अहिले मिलिट्रीमा गए कस्तो हुन्छ लाइफ के हुन्छ होइन हाउ डु आई गेट अब भोलि जे पनि हुनसक्छ होइन आई मे कम ब्याक आई मे नट कम ब्याक तर आई फिल लाइक या देयर विल बी अ ब्राइटनेस त्यो whenever I see तिहारको दिवालीको लाइट अहिले पनि आई फिल लाइक द्याट आई एम चेजिङ द ब्राइटनेस होइन त्यो ग्लिम्स अफ एउटा होप छ जुन म चेज गरिरहेको छु 4 years अफ अहिले करियर म गर्छु पछि आई हेभ माई mentality I'm strong enough to rebuild everything if I have to होइन status is a big thing because अहिले पनि अब धेरै नेपाली भाइ बहिनीहरू यहाँ आउँदाखेरि सबैभन्दा फर्स्ट स्ट्रेस भनेको उनीहरूलाई पढिसकेपछि जब कसरी पाउने र जब कसरी पाउने जुन जबले चाहिँ मेरो स्ट्याटस इमिग्रेसनको पार्ट चाहिँ स्ट्रेस नहोस् भन्ने हुन्छ द फर्स्ट स्ट्रेस इज इमिग्रेसन होइन अनि त्यो रिजल्भ भएपछि आई एम नट गन बी स्केड भन्ने भयो अनि या एन्ड देन एउटा अर्को फनी स्टोरी भन्छु त्यो फनी पनि छ इट वाज टचिङ मी एज वेल अनि सबै साइन भइसकेपछि कन्ट्र्याक्ट भइसकेपछि चाहिँ अनि दे सेड दे ह्यान्ड मी मेरो रिक्रुटरले मलाई प्याकेज सी ह्यान्डेड मी माई प्याकेज एन्ड सी सेड it was stamped like बाहिर चाहिँ अब स्ट्याम्प भएर चाहिँ ओके हायर्ड भन्ने थियो रिक्रुटेड आई रिमेम्बर रिक्रुटेड थियो होइन अनि विल बी शिफ्ट on February of 2010 होइन to South Carolina होइन Fort Jackson training camp अनि इट हेज लाइक 9 digits आइडी ट्याग होइन अनि त्यो बेलामा जस्तो मनमा अलिकति पऱ्यो कि विल बी सिफ्ट होइन वी युज सिफ्ट फर प्याकेजेस होइन थिङ्स होइन प्रडक्ट होइन अनि देन आई रियलाइज द्याट I'm gonna be a part of such a big organization that I'm just one number. And that's actually true in many things in our life today, that we work for big companies, but you're just one employee.
You're just a number.
It's the same thing. You're just a number, right? Yeah. So until I remember, right? अनि अब struggle आर्मीमा तिम्रो छ, it's not easy life होइन. अब I didn't realize that 4 years went by fast actually भन्ने हो भने ट्रेनिङ्स त्यसपछि फर्स्ट मान्छेको मेन्टल ब्रेकडाउन चाहिँ फर्स्ट 3 months त्यो जुन बेसिक ट्रेनिङ हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ अब त्यो एभ्री वान हेज टु गो थ्रु द्याट बेसिक ट्रेनिङ आर्मीमा होइन डजन्ट म्याटर डक्टरले जोइन गर्यो भने पनि प्रोफेसनल डजन्ट रियली म्याटर एभ्री वान निड्स टु बी क्यापेबल अफ डुइङ समथिङ राइट फाइटिङ if you need to भन्ने हुन्छ so regardless of your job description you have to do that first 3 months of training अनि त्यो चाहिँ हार्डेस्ट ट्रेनिङ भनौँ न पार्टको अनि मान्छेहरू अब फिजिकली मेन्टली ब्रेकडाउन भएर गिभ अप दिने भनेको टाइम त्यही हो अनि त्यो क्लियर भएपछि चाहिँ अर्को अरू एडिसनल भनेको अब इट बिकम्स नर्म अफ यर लाइफ होइन पार्ट अफ यर लाइफ रुटिन अफ यर लाइफ त्यसपछि यु विल गेट थ्रु इट 4 years went by pretty fast भित्रको स्ट्रगलहरू देयर आर सम बिकज अब यु आर अब तिम्रो you will see a diversified force त हुन्छ तर you will always see that there is अब military is a big organization होइन अनि अब त्यहाँ पनि अब तिम्रो there are lot of stereotypes there are a lot of racism still there होइन हुन्छ अब it doesn't come out naturally or आउँदैन तर there is somewhere भन्ने आफूलाई फिल हुन्छ नि कहिलेकाहीँ त्यो हुन्छ अब फ्यामिली मिस हुन्छ अफकोर्स होइन अनि I still remember मेरो त्यो एभ्री वेडनेसडे इभिनिङ चाहिँ हाम्रो ट्रेनिङको टाइममा मेल डिस्ट्रिब्युट गर्थ्यो क्या उनीहरूले जसले जसले मेल आयो किनकि वी नट अलाउड टु किप सेल फोन्स त्यो 3 monthsमा अनि अब मेल अब माई पेरेन्ट्स आर ब्याक होम अब नन अफ माई गुड फ्रेन्ड्स इन युएस ओन्ली कपल अफ देम न्यू द्याट आई लेफ्ट टु गो टु आर्मी होइन कतिलाई थाहा पनि छैन म कहाँ गएँ के गरिरहेको छु होइन अनि अभियसली आइ एम नट गोना गेट मेल्स राइट सो 1 week passed, 2 week passed, 3 week passed. अब त्यो 4th week, 5th week जब जान्छ नि त्यो बेला चाहिँ you realize that I wish someone would send me mail जस्तो लाग्दो रहेछ क्या अनि सबैको नाम आइसक्यो त्यो बेलासम्म 4th weekसम्म त everyone else like we had 35 people in my group platoon होइन अनि त्यो लाग्दो रहेछ अनि तर there are good people, there are really good people that support. The best learning I have is like it's just teamwork. Like supporting each other चाहिँ हो रहेछ अनि मेरै बङ्कमेट भनौँ अब आर्मीमा कस्तो हुन्छ भने ट्रेनिङ टाइममा चाहिँ दे ह्याभ लाइक लोवर बङ्क अप्पर बङ्क हुन्छ होइन बेड हुन्छ होइन अनि अब उसँग चाहिँ अनि अर्को एउटा आर्मीको एउटा राम्रो के छ भने ट्रेनिङ टाइममा दे विल एट्याच यु विथ समवन एज अ ब्याटल बडी के त्यो नाम चाहिँ ब्याटल बडी हुन्छ कि उसको अनि त्यो ब्याटल बडी सिस्टम मिलिटरीको एकदम भेरी इफेक्टिभ छ द्याट्स वाइ दे आर कन्टिन्युइङ टुडे कस्तो छ भने तिम्रो एक अर्कालाई चाहिँ सपोर्ट होइन अब एभ्री वान उनीहरूलाई थाहा छ एभ्री वान गोज थ्रु द मेन्टल ब्रेकडाउन होइन फिजिकली च्यालेन्जिङ हुनसक्छ कि अब त्यो कति स्ट्रेस भएर हुनसक्छ बिकज इट्स अ ड्रास्टिक चेन्ज फर एभ्री वान्स लाइफ नि त जो पनि आएको छ होइन अब मेरो आफ्नै स्टोरी छ एभ्री वान हेज देयर ओन स्टोरी होइन त्यो 35 फेसेस दे हेभ 35 स्टोरिज इन द्याट रुम होइन अनि द ब्याटल बडी सिस्टमले चाहिँ हेल्प गर्ने चाहिँ कहाँ रहेछ भने जब चाहिँ त्यो एक अर्कालाई सपोर्ट चाहिएको बेलामा चाहिँ यु आर अलवेज विथ देम होइन अनि यु केम टु नो द अदर पर्सन्स लाइफ क्या स्लोली होइन अब किनभने बिस्तारै बिस्तारै अब सोधिन्छ क्वेसनहरू कहाँबाट आयो के गरिरहेको छ तिम्रो फ्यामिली कस्तो छ अनि when you spend too much time together it's almost like you are handcuffed with that person okay wow so you have to be that close okay किनभने भोलि उसलाई रेस्टरुम युज गर्नु पर्यो भने he cannot leave his he cannot take his weapon to restroom हैन अनि उसले he cannot leave his weapon outside हैन किन ट्रेनिङ टाइममा we have to carry weapon all the time अनि he is going to be looking after your weapon हैन अब the reason is the trust अब त्यो पर्सनले त्यो वेपन तिम्रो के गरिदियो अथवा हराइदियो अथवा के लुकाइदियो भने the blame will come to you not that person either हैन तर you have a trust you just hand over the weapon you go so ट्रस्टको सिस्टम बिल्ड हुँदो रहेछ अर्को कुरा इमोसनल सपोर्टमा बिल्ड हुँदो रहेछ उसले मेरो त्यो क्वाइट स्याडनेस भनौँ न आई डिडन्ट एक्सप्रेस इट तर नोटिस गरेर आएको छु क्या होइन अब आई थिङ्क हि इज एक्सपेक्टिङ समथिङ होइन आइरहेको छैन उसको मेल पनि अनि एक दुईचोटि कुरा हुँदा मैले भने पनि थियो होला उसले सोधे पनि थियो होला खै तेरो के फ्यामिलीमा न बिस्तारै पछि मैले रियलाइज गरेँ कि उसले मलाई किन त्यस्तो क्वेसनहरू सोधिरहेको छ तेरो फ्यामिलीहरू कता छ साथीभाइ के छ भनेको द रिजन इज हि ट्राइङ टु लुक इन्टु द्याट कन्क्लुजन वाइ इज नट गेटिङ द मेल्स होइन अनि वान डे माई नेम कल्ड आई वाज कम्प्लिटली अमेज कसले पठायो त मेल होइन अनि आई सो एक्साइटेड आफ्नो नाम आउँदाखेरि अनि त्यसपछि इट वाज समवेयर अराउन्ड 6th or 7th week अनि गएँ म मेल लिएर आएन अनि मेल च्यातेर हेरेँ बाहिर चाहिँ जस्ट जेन्डरको नाम पनि थिएन जस्ट 2 निर्मल बुढाथोकी मात्र थियो होइन मेरो बेसको च्यातेर हेरेँ अनि त्यसपछि इट वाज सेन्ड बाई माई ब्याटल बडी के हु लिभ्स विथ मी एभ्री डे द मेलको कन्टेन्ट वाज नट इम्पोर्टेन्ट फर मी राइट त्यो फिलिङ जुन त्यो आउँदाखेरि लाइक समवन इज देयर टु सेन्ड मी भन्ने भयो नि आई वाज भेरी भेरी इमोसनल अनि त्यो सपोर्ट सिस्टम चाहिँ छ होइन अनि देयर कुड बी एनी प्रोफेसनमा अहिले पनि हामीले हरेक प्रोफेसनमा अब प्रोज कन्स होइन गुड एन्ड ब्याड सबैमा हुन्छ अल्टिमेटली यु हाउ डु यु यो come over this bad things अथवा weak points and make it up by the good points भनौँ न त्यो हुँदो रहेछ अनि अब स्ट्रगल भयो तर अब I really outshined as a soldier म एज अ हाम्रो चाहिँ अब अन्डरग्रेड सकेकोहरूलाई चाहिँ अथवा अन्डरग्रेडसम्म सकेकोहरूलाई चाहिँ सुरुमै E4 भन्ने ऱ्याङ्कबाट सुरु गर्थेँ कि अनि हामी चाहिँ अफिसर साइडमा होइन कि नन कमिसन अफिसर साइडमा हुन्छ किनभने सबै म्याब्नीबाट जोइन गर्नेहरूको चाहिँ छुट्टै छुट्टै प्रोग्राम हुँदो रहेछ होइन अनि त्यसपछि अब E1बाट सुरु हुन्छ ऱ्याङ्क E1 E2 E3 E4 भनेको पनि त इज एक्चुली यु अलरेडी स्टार्ट विथ E4 भनेको राम्रो अनि E4बाट सुरु गर्नेहरू धेरै कम हुने भएको भएर मलाई चाहिँ अब सुरुमै प्लटुन लिड बनाइदियो कि अनि लिड बनाइदिएपछि अनि अहिले सोध्छु म होइन सुरुमै ब्लाइन्डली कसैलाई लिडरसिप पोजिसनमा राख्दियो भने होइन कति कुराहरू आफूले फोर्स गरेर सिक्नुपर्ने हुने रहेछ भन्ने कुरा सोच्थेँ त्यो बेलामा like you're leading the people of 35 people होइन including myself 34 people lead गर्ने त्यो पनि अब तिम्रो I know nothing about यहाँको कस्तो कल्चर छ होइन अब how to treat people अब त्यो कसैलाई मोटिभेट गर्न अब एउटा मान्छेको स्ट्रङ्गेस्ट पोइन्ट के हो भनेर चाहिँ लिडरसिपले थाहा पाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ एउटा मान्छेको विकेस्ट पोइन्ट के हो भनेर लिडरसिपले थाहा पाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ अनि फर यु टु साइन एज ए लिडर इट्स नट अबाउट यु इट्स अबाउट यर पिपल भन्ने कुरा हुन्छ नि अब त्यो अहिले तिम्रो लिडरसिप पोजिसन मान्छेहरू म्यानेजरमा काम गर्नेहरू अब मैले देखाएको छु सम पिपल ह्याभ रियली गुड म्यानेजमेन्ट स्किल्स बट दे डोन्ट ह्याभ लिडरसिप स्किल्स एन्ड लिडरसिप स्किल्सहरू मैले मिलिटरीबाट पोजिटिभ साइडमा समराइज गर्दाखेरि लिएको कुराहरू भनेको त्यही हो टिमवर्क हाउ यु सपोर्ट इच अदर लाइफ क्यान बी च्यालेन्जिङ यु क्यान हिट रक बटम मेनी टाइम्स how you build resilience, that's one of the best part that you will learn. And adaptability. They will leave you in any place, any time. And there are many missions I have been like, I didn't know how to, धेरै कुराहरू सिकिन्छ आफै नाइट भिजनमा गाडी चलाउने कसरी होइन अब यो मलाई GPS कोअर्डिनेट मात्रै दिएको छ होइन त्यहाँ गएर मैले आई हेभ टु फाइन्ड समथिङ होइन दे क्रिएट लट अफ दिस ट्रेनिङ जस्ट टु टिच यु that how you adapt okay ultimately adaptation right they want you to fail many times that's for sure they know that this person is going to fail they have the monitoring system they will figure out how to sabai manche ko bistari unale weakness haru tha paepachi they will teach you how to come over it ani ultimately I came out as a different person that's for sure ani challenges bhaneko ta त्यही हो back of my mind अब कति बेला चाहिँ लाग्छ अब I came here for my masters I should be actually currently working in some tech role that was my dream role but I'm not you know like can I do that can I achieve that again जस्तो त फिल हुँदो रहेछ अनि त्यही ब्यारियरलाई बिस्तारै ओभरकम गर्दै जाने हो
त्यही त I think you said when तपाईले when you had to decide whether going to the army or not that was one of the biggest decision of your life it's completely different path than what you thought you would be heading towards but you said that you were not scared your family was scared and you were not scared you didn't have any fear so how did that happen like how were you not scared to go to a completely different profession to US military where US was fighting like two active wars at the moment, I think, right? So how were you not scared? How did you overcome that fear?
Yeah, that's interesting. So मलाई चाहिँ कस्तो लाग्छ भने हैन, I think I see a lot of things. I mean, लाइफमा हरेक कुरा रिलेटिभ हुने रहेछ हैन. त्यो बेलामा मलाई कस्तो भयो नि, I didn't do many research or मेरो thought processमा म वार टाइममा जोइन गरिरहेको छु, मलाई भोलि हैन I might be in the front line अथवा म जे पनि हुन सक्छ. Ultimately you are signing a blank check of your life. Like they can put you in anything because in the contract you said that whatever the US Army want you to do, you will do it. हैन. Profession MOS तिम्रो job title भनेको सबै आफ्नो ठाउँमा छ. त्यो त उनीहरूले अलाइनमेन्ट करियर अलाइनमेन्ट गर्दा मात्रै हो हैन. भोलि चाहियो भने त भोलि if they in the peak time they can use you for anything. हैन. तर त्यो कुरा सोचिन के त्यो बेलामा हैन. त्यो सोचा हैन. त्यो बेलामा मैले either I survive one more year finding a job हैन. त्यो बेलामा मेरो तिम्रो यो अप्सनल प्र्याक्टिकल ट्रेनिङ ओपिटी टाइम भन्ने 1 इयर मात्र थियो. पछि एक्सटेन्सन भएर अहिले 29 कति मन्थ्स बनाएको छ. अनि सो यु हेभ भेरी लिमिटेड टाइम. यो क्लक इज रनिङ आउट नि त. अनि त्यसपछि अर्को कुरा भनेको अब यहाँ आएर टाइम स्पेन्ड गरियो हैन, पढाइमा पनि हैन गरियो. फेरि गोइङ ब्याक कुड बी वान अप्सन. त्यो नट एन अप्सन म भन्दिनँ. तर मैले चाहिँ त्यो यो डर लाग्नको लागि कस्तो हुँदैछ भने थाहा पाउनु पर्ने रहेछ कुरा. थाहा पाएको भए डर लाग्थ्यो होला हैन. तर मैले चाहिँ सबै कुराहरू अर्को एङ्गलबाट हेरिरहेको थिएँ कि मलाई चाहिँ बायसनेस के थियो भने म कसरी जाने, म कसरी करियर बिल्ड गर्ने, म कसरी यहाँ स्टेबल हुने, त्यो मात्रै थियो हैन. अनि सो जब जोइन गरेँ त्यति बेला चाहिँ तिम्रो एक्सपेक्टेसन्स भर्सेस रियालिटी भन्छ नि हैन. यो कति कुराहरू गाह्रो भयो त्यो बिचमा हैन. ट्रेनिङ टाइममा भयो गाह्रो भयो. त्यसपछि अरू टाइममा पनि इज दिस द राइट जब जस्तो फिल हुन्छ. एभ्री डे यु आर like you have no weekends off, you have like no family time, nothing है. त्यो हुँदाखेरि गाह्रो फिल हुँदो रहेछ. तर त्यो सोचाइ पहिला आएको भए maybe decision could have been different. How my life will be, how my lifestyle will be भन्ने कुरा माइन्डमा I never pictured. All everything I wanted was just to stabilize my career, so I can get a better life for tomorrow हैन. So that present was only for me to focus on how to build my tomorrow भन्ने थियो के. अनि अब यस्तो पनि हो फेरि मेरो नेपालमा मेरो मामा भनौँ, which is my obviously mother's brother हैन. He was in military, नेपालको military, and he used to take me to military base camp in Nepal है. अनि he used to make me run, he used to do my stuff, he used to I did saw some lifestyle of military life हैन. अनि funny incident, त्यो स्कुलमा you remember like when they asked like what you want to be when you grow up हैन. अनि मेरो फ्रेन्ड्सहरू like doctor, engineer भन्थ्यो. I used to say military के. And now it's so funny that life happens in such a way that I actually became one. अनि त्यो टोइजहरू पनि त्यो मिलिटरी टाइपको गाडीहरू यताउति खेल्न मन पराउने भन्छन्थ्यो ड्याडीले हैन. सो इट्स फनी. अनि उहाँले अब त्यो उहाँको इन्सपिरेसनबाट इनफ्याक्ट आई हेभ अनदर स्टोरी. I actually right after +2 I did went for the official school there. त्यहाँ नेपालको तिम्रो सेकेन्ड लेफ्टिनेन्ट ट्रेनिङ भन्ने हुन्छ. इट्स भेरी पपुलर है. यु गो क्याडेट स्कुल जस्तो यहाँको. अनि अब +2 ग्रेजुएट भएपछि यु क्यान फिनिस अल द टेस्ट, यु क्यान कम्पिट, यु क्यान गो एन्ड अफिसियल स्कुलमा जान सकिन्छ होइन. अनि एकजना मेरो फ्रेन्ड र म we were like I don't know how we inclined. He was also into this military stuff and all, so we went in. And then I actually made it through everything. The thing what I couldn't make it, or I actually didn't want my parents to do it, was to invest money on me. हैन. Ultimately अब तिम्रो त्यहाँ अलिकति अब हुन्छ नेपालमा तिम्रो सेकेन्ड क्याड लेफ्टिनेन्टमा जानेहरूमा चाहिँ अब एट द एन्ड तिम्रो मेन बोटलनेक भनेको त्यो पनि रहेछ, who you know and how much you can afford to spend ahead of time.
As a bribe,
yeah. त्यो छ. Unless you are in the top 10 that they cannot drop you at all. All the other seats are filled on the recommendation referrals. I mean, recommendation referrals भनेको the way we use it here, which is obviously only recommendation and referrals without asking for money. But over there, you won't get recommended if you're not spending money. अनि ड्याडीलाई के भन्नु भने अनि बुवालाई चाहिँ no, I think if I spend money to get in, then in my mindset, I will be like, I have to make up that money, right?
Yeah.
Because I get in this role, spending a lot of money. So now I have to make up that money. So when I get in, I already have that mindset that I have to make up that money. So how do I make up that money? My regular salary won't make it. So I become the one of them, same guy, right?
Yeah.
So I think I told my dad not do it, and then it didn't happen. So after that, I joined undergrad. I finished my undergrad. I came here, and my destiny had that I will join US Army, not Nepal Army, I guess.
Yeah, it's very sad because you said you wanted to work for the Nepal Army, and even after getting selected, you want to work for the country as an army, and still you have to bribe to get that seat. It's kind of sad to hear that. Anyway, so I wanted to ask that question. Like when you got shipped, you said like you felt kind of sad. I don't know what feelings you had, right, when you got the number that you are going to be shipped to North Carolina. How was your first day in the military? You woke up, I know you said that it's very tough, right? Regular lifestyle, I believe it's going to be completely different. How was your first day of training? Kosto hunthyo US military training?
Yes.
And
interesting.
Yeah.
So it's the funny way that the US Army, they kind of like try to train people is when you are going for the training camp, right? You will get the first week just to as a buffer time, हैन? तिम्रो travel time, त्यहाँ गयो तिमी आफ्नो सबै कुराहरु, अब तिम्रो कहाँ बस्ने, where do I stay, you know, सबै कुराहरु, which is my main platoon that I'm going to be attached to for my training, who's going to be my trainers, सबै कुराहरु first figure out गर्नलाई they will give you 1 week, हैन? So when you go there, and then I landed in my base camp, the training area, then they will send you someone to pick you up. I know you don't know much, you know, त्यहाँ USO हुन्छ. Every airport has a USO. You go to the USO, United Service memberहरुको हुन्छ, हैन? अनि त्यहाँ अब तिमीलाई लग्छ तिमीलाई, हैन? Almost like a very nice hotel life, हैन? So the mentality is you're gonna go to hell in a week.
In a week.
Man, you might as well enjoy your life for a week. You know? After a week, you're going to go to hell. Okay? Exactly, they will say. So we'll treat you as like, even trainers are hotel, they will eat lunch, breakfast with you together, speak with you nicely. You know, they completely treat you differently, right? So, and lavish life you spend for a week when everyone says that, okay? And then you wish you will get this. I think so. They call one to a training bag, once a duffel bag, once you pack everything on one duffel bag. You have one handbag, हैन? हाम्रो regular handbag जस्तो हुन्छ तर military handbag, अनि एउटा चाहिँ तिम्रो एउटा long duffel bag हुन्छ, त्यो भिर्ने bag. That's all you get to keep with you, हैन? अनि तिम्रो room assignment हुन्छ, सबै हुन्छ. त्यो week मा तिम्रो all paperwork plus कुन training platoon मा attach हो, सबै कुरा हुन्छ. अनि त्यसपछि from the hotel you will take last day. Mindमा मलाई भइसक्यो अब okay, they've been telling me this much, हैन? अब के हुन्छ कसो हुन्छ, हैन? So I haven't pictured or त्यो process भएको छैन नि त कस्तो हुन्छ first day, हैन? अनि all you carrying is one duffel bag and they will keep you in the bag. बस, हैन? बसमा हालेर लान्छ के? अनि तिम्रो त्यो होटल चाहिँ अब बेस कुनै पनि बेसमा every base has their own hotel, हैन? फ्यामिलीहरुको लागि हुन्छ अथवा सुरुमा जाने ट्रेनिङ स्टाफहरु पनि त्यही बस्ने रहेछ. बसमा I think it was maybe half an hour journey, तिम्रो ट्रेनिङ क्याम्प त अलि भित्र हुन्छ, हैन? अनि लग्यो बसमा. बसमा बित्तिकै नै तिनीहरुले सुन्नु रहेछ के? The trainers, the drill sergeant भन्छ हामीले, हैन? Yeah, get your ass down here and then भनेर अगाडि नै आएर कराइहाल्दछ, हैन? अनि त्यसपछि त त्यो त कसै सोचेकै थिएन नि त मैले त, of course, हैन? I was just trying to get off the bus. Yeah, line बनाए and then you make up your line here, go here, yeah. अनि हाम्रो ब्याग चाहिँ अर्को गाडीमा आइरहेको थियो के, डफल ब्याग चाहिँ. अनि हाम्रो सुरुमै लाइनमा छ formation. So and everything in military, I mean, they call it formation भनेको तिम्रो त्यो line system कतिजना बस्ने हुन्छ, हैन? ग्रुप अनुसार हुन्छ. Usually 10 people in a row. अनि like 10 people in a row, doesn't matter who is tall, who is short, मेकअप लाइन भन्न थाल्यो होइन त्यो अब सुरुदेखि अब त्यो मान्छेलाई त त्यो दे आर सो लाउड दे कम टु काइन्ड अफ लाइक येल एट देयर फेस होइन त्यो उनीहरूको मेन्टालिटी कस्तो भने तिनीहरूको माइन्ड सिफ्ट चेन्ज होस् भन्ने रहेछ क्या वेन यु गेट अफ द बस देयर माइन्ड सेट हेज टु बी लाइक ओके नाउ आइम गन गेट दिस फर नेक्स्ट 3 months आई हेभ टु एक्सेप्ट इट एज वान अफ माई रुटिन लाइफ भन्ने कुरा होस् भनेर चाहिँ दे ट्राई टु मेक इट स्ट्रिक्ट होइन अनि फर्स्ट थिङ दे टोल्ड अस इज लाइक ओके यु गाइज ह्याभ 10 minutes टु फाइन्ड यर ब्याग होइन गाडी आयो क्या ब्यागको अनि 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 त्यो गाडीको त्यो अब ब्याग अब 10 minutes कहाँ आफ्नो ब्याग भेटिन्छ होइन everyone start climbing in the truck everyone jump in I also climb in my truck I went to find my bag obviously I didn't find it only few people found it who got lucky उनीहरूको जब माथि ब्याग थियो पायो अनि त्यसपछि they said okay come down and they make us formation again next time they start yelling us like what the same position before once yeah I was not on this now you have to keep in mind that whenever I say formation you look right you look left you look front back you have to be in same position bhन्छ है अनि okay everyone says okay on this how many of you guys found back bhन्छ है अनि यसो सोच्दाखेरि त अब there might be maybe like 10-12 people who got lucky to find their bag on this okay whoever found their bag start pushing bhन्छ pushing and I was surprised they found the bag why are they pushing and we're not pushing right
choose the other ones
they should be the other way and उनीहरूको philosophy के रहेछ भने why did you guys look for only yourself why did you guys didn't look for these guys who didn't find the job back why did you guys didn't help them so start keep pushing भन्छ एकछिन त I was happy I didn't find my bag and this was okay I'll give you guys an idea this is not going to be your individual work यो तिम्रो individualism भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ आजबाट you need to throw it away भने के उसले that's a very very good learning first day मा हैन अब it was just the first morning actually 9-10 थियो होला morning को त्यसपछि next thing you guys do is I'll give you another 10 minutes now another opportunity to find your job bag but you can help each other out you can make a line you know you can go and every bag has a tag if you guys remember once है यसो सोध्दाखेरि हो सबै ब्यागमा तिम्रो अब मिलिट्रीमा गइसकेपछि you will call with last name so last name को alphabetic order मा हुन्छ अनि social security को last 4 हुन्छ stamp गरेको हैन अनि actually every bag has identity right अनि त्यो सोचिएन सुरुमा त मलाई त I just wanted to find my bag भन्ने हुन्छ हैन अनि second opportunity they gave us almost more than half of us could find our bag हैन because we start helping each other out अनि उनीहरूले the main learning lesson was that you have to help each other out it's a teamwork it's not individual you're not going to get through this training if you have the individualism in mind once again this is not a track sport this is not an individual sport once हैन अनि I think that was it अनि त्यो सबै सकिसकेपछि अर्को एक्सरसाइज गरायो अर्को एक्सरसाइज वाज इन्ट्रेस्टिङ इनफ अर्को एक्सरसाइजमा के गरायो भने अब यु गाइज फाउन्ड अ ब्याग हैन जस्ट टेक वाट एभर यु गाइज थिङ्क द्याट यु निड हैन इन अ स्मल ब्याकप्याक भन्यो क्या अनि स्मल ब्याकप्याकमा अब के चाहिन्छ त्यो हाल भन्यो अब स्मल ब्याकप्याक भन्नाले इट वाज स्मल भन्दा नि अब आर्मीमा दिने ब्याकप्याक त डिसेन्ट साइजकै हुन्छ टन्नै सामान अट्छ इनफ्याक्ट हैन कति मान्छेहरू दे क्यान युज द्याट फर अ ट्राभल ब्याग हैन अनि सुरुमा they said like you guys are gonna go from tomorrow to the field for 1 week all this bags is gonna go stay in your room and we're not gonna touch it and this was she just put all the stuff that you need once hey चाहिने सामान हाले मैले पनि मलाई के चाहिन्छ अब दिमागमा त त्यही हो what do I need हैन मलाई यो पनि चाहिन्छ होला त्यो पनि चाहिन्छ होला भन्यो हैन अनि what you need and what you want is different नि त त्यो कुरा त हामीले डिसाइड गर्न सकेन त्यो माइन्डमा इट्स आवर फर्स्ट डे I don't know I thought like I need everything झ्यामझुम हाले मैले त हैन सबै चाहिन्छ भनेर like I'm putting everything together पछि त के भन्छ तिनीहरूले so now you think you guys need this bag right भन्छ हैन yeah okay now carry that bag भन्छ यसरी ब्याग माथि उठाएर रन थाले अब now policing yourself why do I make my backpack heavy हैन the people who have their backpack light they are more comfortable नि त अब त अनि उनीहरूको अर्को लेसन के थियो भने In life, in training, when I say what you need, you only give what you need.
Not what you want.
It's not what you want.
Yeah.
कुनै कुनै मान्छेहरूको त अब आफूलाई त मैले पनि धेरै सामान हाले जस्तो भयो होइन. Then you look around, some people are smart enough to put small bag and some people didn't have enough time to put a bag. So they got lucky. दुई चारजनाको त ब्याग यति हेभी कि they are hardly getting it. Oh my God. And I think those are a few things that they did us in the first day. I think the first day incident भयो होला, it stays in my mind so far. अनि I think it's interesting that the way they teach you. I mean, त्यो सानो incident बाट when they start teaching you, the people who are doing the right thing get punished was first thing that impressed me, okay? Because you should have helped the other people to do the right thing, but you only that. अनि उनीहरूको हरेक पनिशमेन्ट पुशअप किन हुन्छ भने भोलि the reason they want you to is like just build the strength, right? They are punishing you for something that you did wrong, but the punishment should build you physically, physical strength was भनेर रहेछ. अनि it's amazing. I think their training system is absolutely amazing भन्ने तिनीहरूको. त्यही भएर कति मान्छेहरू मिलिट्रीमा गइसकेपछि they always say like you go as a one person, you come out as a different person, right? अनि अब यस्तो पनि हुन्छ मलाई चाहिँ कस्तो लाग्छ भने लाइफमा एउटा इन्ट्रेस्टिङ पोइन्ट खास है. When do someone becomes a man? It's actually a good question, right? I don't know actually the answer. Is it when I get ID? Is it when I am legal to drink? Is it when I start taking care of my family? अनि यसो सोच्दाखेरि त अब I don't know. You there's so many incidents in your life that you became a man even as a boy, right? Some people कति मान्छेहरुको सुनिन्छ हैन कहानीहरु अब responsibilities as an elder son I had it from the childhood, हैन. अनि yeah, so that question always struck me like, you know, like there's no threshold, no number that should define someone as a man. अनि life will everyone's life will shape you differently. अनि yeah, you become man some point of time, right? So your teenage boy or anything that you think that it is a privilege in life, like my parents are doing it, or like I don't have to wake up in the morning at 6, I don't have to wake up in the morning at 5 o'clock. When you have a choice, you do lean towards the other option sometimes. When you don't have a choice, you have to do it, right? अहिले पनि अब मेरो लाइफस्टाइल अब कति कुराहरू अब मिलिट्रीको इफेक्ट छ हैन. I try to discipline my routine यताउति. Sometimes it doesn't happen because of my kids, because of my lifestyle change, and then I realized that it's just because I have options, right?
Yeah.
So the first day itself was a lot of learning actually.
So until that was first day, and costo schedule hunthyo, kati hours a day? 3 months they say. Yeah,
तिम्रो चाहिँ first 3 months चाहिँ they say it's a hell just for a reason actually. It's not easy. You wake up around like 4:30, 5 o'clock ma the first formation huncha हैन. You have to be out the door 5:30, and then you come back after training, after finishing everything around 10 o'clock. Your last formation is around 10:30, and then they make you drink water because a lot of people may skip drinking water. त्यही भनेर उनीहरूले चाहिँ अनि राति अब 10:30-11 बजेतिर बेसमा पानी खानिदिन्छ 2 ग्यालन जति हैन. अनि पानी खाँदैछ यस्तो रातभर सुत्न सकिदैन, खानै पर्ने हैन. त्यो उनीहरूको एउटा फिलोसफी त्यो पनि रहेछ कि लाइक when you drink a lot of water, you obviously have to get off and go pee, and you're not going to miss your schedule next day because अनि उनीहरूको कस्तो हुन्छ भने अब एउटा चाहिँ मिलिट्रीमा कस्तो पनि हुन्छ भने अब when you go in a war obviously हैन, this whole training of 3 months is to prepare you for a war regardless of your position, right? That's why everyone goes. अनि they call it the basic combat training, which is BCT. अनि उनीहरूको फिलोसफी चाहिँ every time you should be alert, every time, and when you are sleeping or taking a break, taking a rest, त्यो चाहिँ तिम्रो फ्याक्टर्समा हुनुपर्छ भन्छ क्या, different intervalsमा हुनुपर्छ भन्छ. So you train your mind to sleep in intervals. So even like 2 hours go sleep, if I do get a really good deep sleep, that should be sometimes enough to recharge body lights हुनलाई के. Obviously our sleep system सबै कुरा जानु अघि त I have a different pattern of life नि त. त्यो एडजस्ट हुन सुरुमा टाइम लाग्छ, 1 month त त्यसमै लाग्छ है. अनि and then you there उनीहरुको अब खुवाउने system, you get in the line to eat, you get 2 minutes to eat, हैन. अनि you may not finish your food, then you know they won't give you another opportunity, so you start learning how to eat fast or how to take a proper food. हैन सबै कुरा हालेर म I want to do a good lunch भन्ने कुरा हुँदैन. I want to do something that give me my enough energy to get going भन्ने हुन्छ हैन. अनि make up your bed, I mean make up your bed को त स्टोरी नै छ. The first thing you do it one task right will lead your day भन्छ. त्यही भएको भएर उनीहरूले they will check your bed if you are doing it properly. The whole reason initially I was like this is not smart. Why are you checking my bed the way I make bed, right? It has to be in this certain angle. The blanket has to be tucked in certain angle. To the point that we used to just sleep on the top of the make bed with a sleeping bag.
So that it's
so tomorrow it's less of a hassle to make a bed, हैन. तर पछि त्यसको lesson पनि everything has a very very good learning lesson चाहिँ के रहेछ भने yeah, you come back after a tiring day 10:30 11 o'clock 12 o'clock to sleep and then you will sleep on the bed that you made, and then त्यो तिमीलाई एउटा achievement दिनभरिमा if you couldn't achieve anything else, the first task was a small task, you made up a bed, right?
That's good thing, yeah.
त्यो सिकाउनको लागि रहेछ हैन. अनि which is good. अनि अब first 3 months though it's almost like they give us the different training schedules. Today if I am going on the shooting range, they're going to train me how to shoot a weapon, हैन. अनि त्यसपछि if I'm doing it wrong, then they will teach me. कुनै दिन चाहिँ तिम्रो अब अरु तिम्रो physical ट्रेनिङहरु हुन्छ हैन, obstacle courses हरु हुन्छ, कुनै दिन के हुन्छ, कुनै दिन के. So all of these trainings they design in such a way that yeah, so if you work on your अब अहिले हामी जिममा जाँदाखेरि हाम्रो स्केड्युल बनाउँछौं नि. If I worked in the upper body I work tomorrow in the lower body भने जस्तो हैन. So I won't overstretch my thing. So they have all this planned out. They're not going to physically hurt you. हैन. Physically hurt कसैलाई चाहिँ उनीहरुले चाहिँ they not target their training to do it. They slowly build the you know तिम्रो त्यो intensity बिस्तारै build गरिदिन्छ के. And you don't realize how strong you get actually with time. In 3 months, like people are losing weight, but they are, you know, getting the physical strength as well as the mentally strength, right? Mental strength was the big deal, I guess. Everyone gets to see a different side of them after 3 months. In fact, they discover a different personality of themselves.
And any point of time in that 3 months, like, did you feel like giving up? Did you cry? Did you remember your family? You know, it's like too much of a burden to me. I'm taking more than I could handle this. So, did you feel that? I felt like I was pretty rock solid. You know, mental. This is my decision. This is what I choose to. And my parents even suggested me not to do it, and I went over it. I tried to convince them that there is a bright side to it. And when you made a decision, then you sometimes have to just blame yourself than anyone else. So त्यो भएको भएर कति कुराहरु मैले ओभरकम पनि गरे होला हैन, mentally. तर कहिलेकाहीँ you feel like some point of time you feel okay, is this why I'm in US? You know what I'm doing it. The way I was in a leader role. Then I look around, almost everyone are pretty much high school graduates. I have my master's in IT, information systems. What I'm doing here, I think those were my struggling point. I had to find ways to convince myself, right, why I'm doing this. Physically, I never felt like I was drained. Hey, to say about, I think that's a good thing. Mentally, I felt like there were some breaking points. To mailहरू त्यो आउने पनि, I think somewhere, I think but the plus is the support system. That's why I initially said. अब त्यो battle body system, support system अथवा त्यो whole platoon ले मलाई चाहिँ we don't accept you as a good leader भनेर भन्देको भए पनि अझ मलाई झन् नेगेटिभिटी हुन्थ्यो होला हैन. But everyone accepted me, and
like, and some point of time, I think your personal characteristics also plays, okay? Because when I to ट्रेनरहरूले चाहिँ लिडरशिप रोलमा किन कसैलाई चुज गर्छ भने यु हेभ टु बी रेस्पोन्सिबल फर अल दोज अदर पिपल. त्यसपछि आई गेट टु चुज त्यो प्लटुन लिड हुन्छ होइन. प्लटुन लिड पछि चाहिँ तिम्रो हरेक रोललाई चाहिँ यिनीहरूले त्यो अर्को भन्छ फेरि अल्फा बिटा चार्ली डेल्टा हुन्छ कि हरेक रोजमा होइन. अनि हरेक रोजको फेरि एउटा लिडरसिप चुज गर्न मिल्छ. त्यो चाहिँ ट्रेनरले चुज गर्दैन, मैले चुज गर्नुपर्छ क्या.
ओके.
अनि मैले चुज गरेर चाहिँ आई असाइन अनि यु लर्न हाउ टु डेलिगेट थिङ्स होइन. कसलाई चाहिँ रेस्पोन्सिबल मान्छे चुज गर्ने होइन. इफ इज नट डुइङ द राइट थिङ, डु यु स्पेन्ड टाइम टु करेक्ट हिम or replace him होइन. सम पिपल चुज टु रिप्लेस हिम राइट अवे, which may not be the right decision. But if I replace that person right away, that person will think a little bit negative towards me always, right? So I don't think एउटा मात्रै पर्सन हो भनेर मैले चाहिँ I can replace him, but tomorrow he might just go has a negative feeling against me, and then his friends, he may have 2 or 3 friends that he has potential to not support me as leader भनौँ न. अनि त्यो कुरा भयो भने गाह्रो हुन्छ. I've seen some platoon leads like giving up because not only they challenged his mental thing, but अब बिस्तारै तिम्रो when someone dislike you, they will do things against you नि त होइन. अनि त्यो भएन मलाई luckily होइन. अनि I was able to hold up that whole thing. So त्यो कुराहरूले गर्दा सपोर्ट सिस्टम राम्रो थियो. सबै टिम लिड्सहरूले पनि सपोर्ट गरेको थियो. अनि त्यही अब हार्ड पार्ट भनेको त्यही लाइक आई वाज सम पोइन्ट अफ टाइम आई वाज कम्पेयरिङ इज दिस द राइट थिङ आइ एम डुइङ. अनि तर अर्को एडभान्टेज बिङ कनेक्सनलेस वाज I don't know what's going on outside, right?
That's true.
If I had access to a lot of other things, maybe I would have like seen that the same friend who graduated with me got a job, for example, right? And then I'm still struggling. When like you feel like I may have made a wrong decisions, but when you don't see the world outside at all, you feel like you just have to keep moving.
Yeah. I really like that concept of battle buddy. I think मान्छेलाई lifelong change जस्तो लाग्छ एउटा battle buddy.
Lifelong change, yeah. Yeah, I think this is a very good point. Now we have our life partner, which we can call as a battle buddy. But life is a battle. Right?
Yeah.
And it is actually a really good concept they have embraced.
Who was your first battle buddy that you talked about? Do you still talk to him? Are you in
I still talk to him. And let me share one interesting story. My battle buddy actually went through very low points as well. So there was one day we were in the training and I know something is not right. He's not the same person. He don't have the same energy. I asked him if are you okay? He said I guess so. The response was not
I guess so, yeah.
I guess so was not the right response I was looking for. And I keep poking, hey, what's going on? What you all right? What you doing? That morning, I think he hit actually really, really, really low point, and he chugged the whole gallon of laundry detergent.
Damn.
Yeah, he was trying to end his life.
Oh.
And then, and he spoke. He told me like, I was not gonna make it. I feel like, and I tried to end it. And over there, we don't have anything else to do something against you, right? So maybe if there was something that he would have harmed himself, because we're not going to give a live round. We have a weapon, but no one gives us live round. We go to the range, we use they will check, they will count all the bullets they give us, because they want to make sure that nobody is doing anything wrong, right? So the safety system is actually very, very good. So when we are in our, like once you have one bed, there's nothing much. You have friends who walking around with you all the time, and like I have to be with him, like my battle buddy system with him all the time. So in a way that you are surrounded by so many things that you don't get to do anything against you, right? To harm you. That your tools access it out the game then. And the only thing he saw, I think, in his mind was like when and we all have the big laundry room, one single laundry room, and he may have thought that this will hurt him, but त्यो खाइसकेपछि चाहिँ अब लाइक गाह्रो भयो हैन. And he thought that was not the right decision I made. And so I immediately tell my trainer, hey, this is what's going on with him. He got a medical attention on the right time. And he got a medical attention on the right time. So he's fine. He got through it. Unale clean system clean could have hampered his digestive system and all. Life in but it was his attempt. It came over it. And the first thing after all this, staying in hospital for almost 10 days, he spoke to me and he said, yeah, at that point, I made a decision. Right after I made a decision, I knew that was not the right decision I made.
Oh.
And then he come over it. And today also, every Thanksgiving day, he shares me a thank you note that saved me a life, and then it's touching. I also share my thank you note to him for many things. Yeah, he's still there.
You said that your battle buddy who tried to attempt suicide, right?
Yeah.
Glad that he survived. And I think a lot of people who is struggling, they try to attempt suicide at this moment where they think they need to get rid of everything.
Right.
So, but your buddy, he survived. And what did he say after he survived? Was that a right decision for him? What was it like? What was his say after he survived?
Yeah, so that's a really good thought. I think when I talked to him afterwards, like after he stayed in hospital for a week or so, and then we were allowed to meet him, right? So I went to meet him and say his perspective was different. So he said right after he did that, he realized that was a wrong decision he did. And then after he was admitted to the hospital, after he get over it, his thought process, he was laying in the bed and thinking for himself. He said, yeah, so I wished for life. I maybe have taken it for granted or something. If I had ended my life a couple of days ago, I won't be here. I won't be talking to you. Then the other perspective won't be there. Not only that, I think we get covered by such a big cloud of darkness that you don't have any other thought process. You think that that's the only way out. But you don't realize that the way out is just not ending for yourself. You're ending for everyone. So, let's say, a perspective add maybe we should think about my life is not only for myself, right? So, what is aftermath of this, right? So, he thought maybe there are things that he wanted to do, maybe things that he could have done differently. The thing that touched me was like he won't ever do it if he had an option again. And I think I sometimes of a military I think suicide cases is also one of the biggest problem. Even after you get out, you not aligning with your family members, your thoughts, things like that. In fact, many people who got deployed, they come back with the post-traumatic depression, so they go through a lot of these things. They have seen the war. So their mindset is not stable, right? And sometimes when your mindset is not stable, you may make that decision. And some people go through different stages of it. Like in his case, it was just one point of time he realized, okay, that was wrong. Some people realize that it was wrong at that moment of time. Then he goes to his life as a normal human being. Then again, something happens. And that again, same darkness will come to surround him. And he may try to commit again.
Yeah.
So some people has to go through multiple stages. And some people will learn that at one time. But yeah, it's actually ultimately a battle against yourself, which is hard.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like, you decide to commit and there's no going back.
Yeah.
Like a buddy who realized that this is wrong decision, but luckily he was able to get back. But some people, it might be too late.
Too late,
right? And I think life is like you just have to find the right meaning to survive.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, so the next thing is you transitioned from your US military to what you're working at the moment. You're working for one of the greatest company in the world, right? as a senior data scientist, and you were always planning to get back into the tech market.
Right.
And you're trying to get aligned with whatever you're working aligns with what you want later in your life. So how was that transition? How did you move from working as a US military to the path of data scientist?
Yeah, so that's interesting. It has some ups and downs. It wasn't a linear path. So if I look back about when I usually 4.5 years around that time on initial contract, I had two options. One is to add another 4 years. Then the other option is obviously you decide to get out and find a job outside of military, right? So 2014 was the time that I will finish my around August, I'll finish my regular time service. And the market was getting a lot better already, right? It wasn't like in 2010, it's much better shape. So I started building a little bit of confidence in myself that, yeah, I will be able to find my role outside. I'm not going to add another term. I have seen many people who add another 4 years because they think that it's hard outside, and they may feel like I cannot do it, right? So they may choose for that option to add another 4 years because now you're just going to continue on the path. Then after another 4 years, you are in the 8-year journey. If you do it right, you can actually retire on 15 plus or 16th year. So people think that I'm already halfway through my retirement journey, and they will continue. So that's one thing that you kind of get sucked into that life. Some people like it doing it. It's not a bad profession, but if that's not your goal in life, in my case, that was not my goal in life. It was a detour. I'll say the detour time being lagi, but that detour was one of the best thing that happened to me. I learned a lot of things. I became a different person. That set me up for my next stage, right? So everything in life I feel like is a stepping stone, right? So if I have a goal, I feel like, okay, I wanted to get back in tech. How do I do it? So now 2013 I got married, on a 14 so 1 year my wife was with me in the base, and I kind of sometimes I also felt bad. I used to go on training, about every 2 weeks I was gone for 2 weeks. I'm going to California base, Fort Irwin. They call it National Training Center. That was the training center where people come to train before they get deployed. So our routine was like every month we are going to the field for the training for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks we are back to the base. And you're still working in the base, but you're not going on the field. So I was just out for 2 weeks continuously, right? So sometimes you don't get good connection, and sometimes I don't even get to talk to her for a week or so. So this is initial time when you got married. You're trying to build that relationship. You try to understand each other, and then there is this kind of gap, in communication and everything. So which was hard. But throughout that, she has supported me, and I feel fortunate. And 2013, so was the time I got married. So now she was a nurse by profession. So yeah, usko sabai kura job ko bhaisakeko thiena because you have to apply for license and everything, right? So it takes time. So now 2014 August, when I get out, I already made up my mind that I'll get out, right? So, but now, if I think about it smartly, and which at that point I was considering a lot of these options of kasari garni. Initially I don't have job, obviously, right? So you have to make up a mind that you are ready to quit everything, the job you have, the house they give you for living, the daily income you are getting, the daily groceries you are able to afford and buy. That's all gonna go away once I left my job, right?
Yeah.
And then I have to find a job, almost like a reset on my life, another reset button. If now I look back, that was another very, very hard decision that I had to make. Whether I continue. I knew myself that I'll be able to do it, and I wanted to get out and do it. But there's just another version of me within myself telling me that you're not making a decision only for yourself now.
Right.
When I was joining the military, I was making decision only for myself in a way. Now I have to make decision for my wife, and what she wants to do. She wants me to stay, and actually she said really good thing. She said, just follow what your heart says. You don't have to think about me, or you don't have to think about whether we're going to survive, whether we want to deal with it. We'll find a role, we'll find a job. She also said that I can also work legally in this country because then we can even do any work that we need to if we have to, for the time being that you get the job. And it comes back to the support system of having that battle buddy kind of life partner, right? So then we decided, yes, I'm going to quit. I didn't add any more time. So you have to decide at least 6 months ahead of time. And I did save some of my leave days. It called the 3 months terminal leave. 3 months for terminal leave I saved. So the 3 months I signed off and left the base. I'll be in paycheck for 3 months at least, right? I still remember our journey. I think the Fort Irwin is 2-hour drive from San Diego. And so we used to go in the weekends whenever we get time, especially after I got married. We used to get out in the weekends. Before I was just hanging out with the friends and stuff, right? So go San Diego, visit that place, and spend a day there and come back. And we liked the place. In our mind, we're like, if we want to move somewhere out of the base, we will be moving to San Diego. But then again, we don't have job and anything. So I remember that 2 hours of drive when we rented a U-Haul. I was driving the U-Haul truck, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, yes, I just have to go and find job, everything. So whole conversation that we were having on that journey, I think it's kind of fading away right now, because in my mind, this different thing was going on. Like, how do I go reset? How do I start it, right? And now, the moment you left the base, you exited the base, you hand over your ID and all. Like it's pretty hard decision. You feel like okay, can I do it? Is this the right call I made? So to aligati to like confidence you're not there because you haven't got the job yet, right?
Yeah, right.
So then I got picked up by actually a contract company that do the contracts with the military bases. So they had a data analyst role, and they had just the basic requirements of using Excel, doing some analysis, and that was almost like meet everything that I matched with my career, at least to begin with, So data science, but I actually at that point I never imagined I'll be data scientist, and even with Microsoft was not even in my mindset at all. So. Ani 6 months contract I signed up. So they sent me to the base, naval base, to work. It was a cyber defense command. So I was almost like a cybersecurity data analyst. And then since that point of time, I started building slowly more fascination toward data. So I'm like, okay, so we do this, like I can help my leader to make a right decision with data. I can produce some value for the team, for the product, anything. So we started your mindset, like I want to actually work in data. I started loving data. My manager was kind of impressed by my work, and actually she asked me whether I wanted to convert to full-time, because I was a contractor, and my project will expire in the next 1 year, so usually. So the last 6 months, she helped me to process and prepare for interviews and everything, and she brought me on board full-time. So I was a federal employee as a data analyst, of working again for Department of Defense. And I think getting that job was also maybe a little bit easier for me as I had a background on the defense and stuff like that. So going into the military definitely helped, spending that time in government definitely helped. So on a मेरो transition point, another interesting story was that, yes, so first data analyst job, then I got selected as one of the candidates to go back to school if I wish to, and then I felt like I don't want to do another degree here. I'm done with the study, They had a program, that government entity I work for, they had a program to send 4 to 5 candidates to the UCST to do data science degrees, because they feel like data science already popping by that and they feel like we want people with data science to come and help. And so all the data analysts who was doing the basic analysis, they wanted to do if machine learning or data science can help. So and to what is machine learning, what is additional stuff that we can do, what is predictive analytics, what is prescriptive analytics, to all the research गर्न थाले मैले आफैले and very interesting लाग्यो and that was like, okay, I want to do this degree, right? My mindset changed, shifted, and I applied for the program. I got selected, and without paying a dime, I finished my second on the master's, where I completed a data science degree. And I think that opened up the opportunities, because I started meeting more people. That's why I always feel there's a power in networking, power in connection building. Through some connections, I got in touch with someone from Wells Fargo Bank who's looking for data scientist, applied for that role, and then I got it. So my first data scientist official title was Wells Fargo. They gave me a remote position at that point. And yeah, after that, I think I was in fintech for some time. I realized that maybe I wanted to do more in the security data, cybersecurity. I spent a lot of time in back even as an analyst. I spent a long time in cybersecurity data analysis. So I wanted to realign my career again, at least the domain wise. So I started applying, and Microsoft, I was going to their career page, applying, no referrals, nothing. I was blindly applying. I got an interview call, and it happened. So fortunate to be data scientist in Microsoft today. It was hard, obviously, that path, ups and downs, in a way that, yeah, I mean, I could have stayed in a way. You know what I mean?
Actually, you had a really interesting post. I was going to post, and I don't remember the exact line. Maybe you can reiterate that, right? Selling is not just for retailers.
Oh yeah.
Can you reiterate that, so that everyone that I was very fascinated by.
Okay.
Yeah.
So actually today only I also made similar post where I said my first job in the US, even it was a side hustle. I worked in convenience store, and then I learned a lot of things, because it's ultimately I feel like somewhere, some point of time, everyone has to have some sales skills. It doesn't really have to be like, that's why the popular interview scheme, they call it like sell me this pen, right?
Yeah.
And the reason is they don't want that person to obviously be number one salesman to pitch and sell that pen, but like they want to see that person, how he comes up with different things to handle that problem or explain that. So in a way, I think I felt like selling is not only for salesmen or people in the marketing, right? It's for everyone. Like data scientists, like when we work in a one specific product, for example, you have to make sure that the other cross team will get some value out of it. There's always going to be ROI attached to it, right? So if I'm investing money or time or resources to something, so as a data scientist, now I look at all my work items. How does it tie to the key results or objective of the business? Then I can look at it like, yeah, so selling is for everyone, right? So it's ultimately or a sound of mindset. I'm not a car salesman. I'm not a salesman in the grocery shop, But no, I think that mentality is a big difference. Ani timro communication, right? How do you communicate with customers? That the sano convenience store ma pani, how did I make my loyal customers come back? How do I monitor seasonality and trends? All this was it's data science. I didn't label it as a data science at that point of time, but I was doing it. I knew that there's a big event happening. We may have to stock this thing because it goes fast. I knew that, that kind of stuff. And customer behavior analysis today is a big deal. All the online retail market is actually a big segment of data science is customers' behavior analysis, it change over time. How do you handle it? And human nature, human habits, human needs is all actually coming to inspire companies to make products, right? And also the area too is when I was working in a small store, I was doing all that.
Yeah.
I was talking to people, understanding, hey, what's going on. I knew what's happening in their life. Someone has a child. I know that person is gonna buy a lot of the baby products, and I knew his preference. Big companies doing the same thing today, right? Recommendation engine and all.
Yeah.
So I think in a way, if you look back, even not working on that store only, even before in our life, the metrics, numbers, how data science was there.
It's always there,
officially we didn't call it data science or something, right? Ultimately, what is around us, what is driving this thing to succeed or fail, that's all we were doing, right? So even my dad, he was in real estate business for some time. And I think now if I call it, he was one of the data scientists. He was running all these numbers in his head. He was like, who can spend this much of money, like if I put money in this area or this place, is it going to boom tomorrow? So that's his predictive analytics already, right?
Yeah.
When I talked to my dad, I was saying, he didn't go to school. He's highly hard school graduate, but so this is what I was saying, like, another fascinating example was even my mom. She was like, there was a good example, I'll tell you. In back home, like people used to come to our house and say that, hey, we have this free product of fertilizers for you to try, right? My mom used to do a little bit of land farming and all, right? We don't have much, but we have a little bit. And my mom is always like, obviously, like, I wanted to try first. Why do I pay you if it doesn't work, right? And then they were like, well, we can give you to try something out. And then she's like, okay, so I'll use this product in certain area of my farm, and then I'm gonna stick to what I'm using in the certain area of my land. And then she wants to kind of like compare that to. Today we call it A/B testing.
Right.
So she's like, if it works, like I have to compare it, and then I'll buy a product. It's okay. So I think looking back in life, it's data science was surrounded us everywhere. We just realize today that going into the profession and everything, we label it as a data science. But for me, I think, it was everywhere.
So one question, before you said that you decided on joining the US military and you were not scared because it was unknown to you, right?
Yeah.
But now you're working as a data scientist, and now you have access to data.
Right.
Maybe your decision making will be based more on, okay, what are the data that I have and how is my decision going to change based on the data that is available, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
Has that impacted your lifestyle now on your decision making? Because working as a data scientist and before not working as a data scientist, has it impacted?
Yes, of course it has. So that's a very good point. Now when we have access to more data, more historical data points, right? You tend to make a data-driven decision or wiser decision, right? To support even in a lot of things you do in life, like whether when I got reached out by recruiters, for example, sometimes, right? I get reached out by recruiters, hey, you want to change job? It's the right title for you. Then you talk to them, and then they tell you many factors, like, okay, so this is going to be your compliance, this is going to be your work-life balance, like, and now I start considering a lot of the factors, because I have family, that's the data point for me, right? Like, it's not only me, right? I have 2 kids. So for me, I think work-life balance is number one priority than my compensation, right? So when we make decision now, when we think about it, multiple data points, and it doesn't really anyone doesn't have to be data scientist to do that, right? Everyone in life, they consider many data, right? Many different things to make the decision. In the military, when I was joining, obviously, if I had access to many data points, for example, maybe things could have been different, or maybe I would have made different decision. I don't know, right? Or maybe even the data would have probably supported me. Like, I did some market analysis, obviously. And there was a little bit of data driven, not much, but like that outside job market is pretty bad. The unemployment rate is low. Chances of getting the market better. I cannot forecast everything, but I was at least expecting it to be getting better in 3 to 4 years. That 3 to 4 years I spend in the military. I come out. I might be in a better shape to land a job. The other data driven is when I talk to friends, they all say that, hey, the H-1B, the work visa process, everything is not easy. Even if you get a job, the struggle still remains, right, to get your immigration situated and all. So for me, when you join the military, obviously, once you succeed and once you complete everything, you come out as a U.S. citizen. So you don't go through that path. So that is actually a huge gain, right? So then for me, I think if I had to consider even the data points, I would have made a decision, even considering the data, because your immigration will be situated better. Your unemployment rate in the market was low. Market tends to get better in 4 years. This is all data points, right?
Right.
Even if I was looked at that will always tell me to predict go versus not go.
Yeah.
So, and today we do that in many things in our life, right? So, interestingly enough, we don't call it data science, but
Yeah. And now you're a big LinkedIn influencer, right? There are so many people who are looking towards you as a career coach.
Right.
They are very influenced by the content that you create on LinkedIn. A lot of people, young or like someone in their mid of the career, they want to go into data science, data analytics. And now you're working for Microsoft, the leader in AI, who's like forefront in this business, right? So what would you say to like a common suggestion to all the to-be data scientists, to-be data analysts? What are the preparations they need to make, or before contacting you, or what are the things that they need to do, right? So
yeah. So this is one thing that when I started sharing things in LinkedIn, let me give quick background on why I started. Actually, it's interesting. In my life, a lot of things happened, like we call it going with the flow, right? Even when I was in undergrad, why did I choose computer science? It was not a data-driven decision. I was like, yeah, if you cannot do medical school, you go engineering school. I think that's the kind of mentality we have back home, which is kind of sometimes I feel like sad mentality. We need to change that at some point of time. And it's getting better now because there's a lot of other job areas or the domain areas that can have a very great career potential, right? At our time, it's like you get certain amount of number of grade, you choose to go to medical school because everyone else is going. And then if you cannot make it to the medical school, you go to engineering college and do computer science, electronic engineer, things like that. And then if you cannot meet that, then they will call you join the business school, And I think there's this stereotype of where's my decision, right? I don't have my decision in that flow, and which is true. And I think growing up here, at least for my kids, they don't have to do that because they see that there's a lot of other career avenues. Because I went with the flow, ultimately, right now, fortunately, it worked out a lot of things, right? Like I went to computer science, I did study well and get to where I am today. But in a lot of this whole journey, I felt like I needed someone as a mentor. I needed someone to guide me in career, and I had no one, even from my schooling to my +2 to my college, even to apply, whether to apply US for the undergrad or the graduate school. One of my cousins, she suggested me that going in the undergrad, you have a bigger struggle because you're going to have to spend 4 years studying, managing your lifestyle expenses and everything. It might be hard for you. Try to get options here if you can do it. And then I took that option. I actually had everything process done for my undergrad, and I didn't apply. But that was only one thing that someone suggested me in my career, if I look back, because my parents, they don't know much about what would be right decision for him. They only say that, yeah, if you feel like this is a good decision for you, do it, right? They both were not from a big educational background. And now I think I'm an eldest son in my family. I was making a lot of this decision on my own. And then in the US, I felt like there was always a gap in my career that I felt like mentorship gap. That was the whole point I started this. Like initially I started doing this on my own calendar, like calendar setting up, like giving people advices, things like that. And slowly people start liking it. They're like, hey, you need to start sharing this kind of content in LinkedIn because somewhere it helps me to learn new resources. Somewhere it helps me to save my career. And it has become exponential factor of motivation for me because someone sent me a message that, hey, that 10 minutes or 15 minutes or half an hour I spent with you helped me to boost my confidence to attend the interview, or the resources you shared helped me to crack the interview, or your mentorship to transition my career from data analyst to data science helped me a lot, opened up my eyes. So things like that was very motivating for me. So I started continuing, and slowly my followers build up. I started sharing more contents, and I did build I built my profile on TopMate and provide all services now. So ultimately the motivation was that mentorship was that I was lacking. And then the biggest thing I told you earlier also, right? The networking and connection is actually have a huge value in this career, especially in tech. Everywhere I think it values a lot, but in tech, the job market today is so competitive that if you apply just from the website as a cold application, it's just going on the black hole. You don't know where it's going, and like whether you're going to hear back or no. But if you set up a channel through connections or your networking that, hey, I applied to this role, which team it is, so you can actually set up that organic level of conversation to connect with someone, and they can help you out with like, this is the right fit for you or no. If it is, then they will probably help you to get in touch with recruiters, things like that. For someone who wants to transition into data, a few of my suggestions will be, first thing is, do you really want to do this? That's the first thing. I talk to many folks who wants to be in data science and machine learning because few reasons they gave me doesn't meet the requirement for me. Because the reason they gave me is we all are heading to AI, and our job, if we don't do the AI, we're gonna lag behind. It's okay to a certain point, but that's not a decision that you should switch to AI.
Yeah.
Some people tell me that there's a bigger paycheck for the machine learning data science role. I mean, every job pays well, depending on where you're at, and how much progress or career growth you can make in that role, right?
Yeah, true.
So, but people blindly think that data scientists get paid well. And the other people think that, hey, I'm going to be the problem solver for the company. I'm going to come in and, but the reality is that the slowest moving projects and the most ambiguous projects is data science projects, because you cannot just build a prototype and put in production next day. So I tell everybody who wants to come in is come up with the right expectations. If you have this kind of expectation, you need to dump that. That's the first thing. And the second thing is you need to enjoy data, right? If you don't like working in data, right? So if I give you a data set and sometimes I tell some of my mentees that if they want to do it, I tell them, hey, I help you to build your project portfolio. And they will come to me and then say, what kind of data shall I use? And I give them one data set or suggestions, and then, okay, use this data to build something. I don't tell them to build any model yet. I tell them, hey, just do the exploratory data analysis. We call it EDA. Just try to present the story from this data. The first simple task I give them is, tell me a story from this data when you build the presentation, right? And some people come to me that, yeah, this data is not good. This data is very, not clean. This data is like, I have to do a lot of this data massaging, wrangling. I spend all my time just playing with this data, and I don't like it. I just wanted to build predictive models, ML model, And I tell them, I give them a big lesson right away that, hey, 80% to 90% of the work in the real industry is like this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're not going to be going there and start building model next day. You know, none of the team is set up like that. Even if they have the best infrastructure, best data, everything, they have to build the proof of concept. They have to learn from the data. They have to frame the problem. They have to understand what they are solving. A lot of things, you know, like we don't see it when we are in the early graduate time period, that I learn all these packages now, I know Python very well. They try to tag themselves as a pretty good data scientist, and reality is not.
It's not,
right.
Yeah.
So for anyone to transition, those are my suggestions. You know, you have to love data, and then initial career, you don't have to pick domain, but you have to make up your mind in next 2-3 years in the career that which domain interests you. You know,
it's in security. Or
whether you want to be in security, everywhere data is there, right? Whether e-commerce, whether in transportation, you know, in telecommunication, everywhere. Once you build that love or passion towards that domain, rest is, I mean, you are more motivated to do it. So in my case, the finance was one thing that I wanted to try. I was in Wells Fargo for brief time being. I took the job because that was my first data scientist role from analyst, right? So, but then I realized that building the economics-based models or the models for fintech, this is a different mindset than what I thought, right? And I always spent my 4 to 5 years of career right before that as an analyst on the cyber or the security domain. So when I switched to the security as a data scientist, and now I love it, it's because you gotta have to love the data that you are working with.
The type of data too.
Yeah, type of data too, right? So if not, then a lot of the data science work is actually not building the model. Building model is always the most simplest thing I say. So other things are like you're coming up with your expertise, domain expertise to build features, what can value for your model, what cannot value for your models. Ultimately is a signals to noise ratio, right? There could be many features that may not help you. So how can you get the better signals? And that comes from domain, right? If I don't understand the domain at all, I don't know what is good signal versus bad signal, right? So, and that is why initially it's okay to try multiple domains, but after you are in the data career for about 2 to 3 years, you need to start picking which domain will interest you.
Nirmalji, one thing that I really appreciate about you is whatever you are doing with your tight deadline at your work at Microsoft, you're trying to give something to the community. You're trying to give something to the new to be data scientists, to be data analysts. Besides that, whatever you earn through TopMate, I saw one of your posts where you are helping some of the kids in Nepal to get their higher education. So could you just tell us a little bit more about what that actually is?
Yeah, for sure. So my logi, I said that when I started this thing about mentoring, I started through my own calendar. I did not know about TopMate or any other platform where I can start my service for a little bit of money that, the time that I spend on them, as well as the money they spend, they should be able to get something back, right? So when we assign the price tag in some of these services, even the mentees or the customers, whoever I helped, they felt like they are not only using me my free time, so they're paying something. So I'm comfortable on this. Sometimes it's comfortable to pay someone because that's how they set up the right expectations. I just set the right expectations. So TopMate ma मेरो एकजना साथीले check out that platform. It's pretty good to post your stories, thoughts, and how people will like it. Someone shared me, and then I started a few services like resume reviews, just a 15 minutes career chat, or maybe like project ideas, or mentorship, one-on-one mentorship call, right? It could be 4 mentorship calls as a package, 1 mentorship as something. I started very simple, and I started seeing a lot of people signing up. They are just ready to pay and get my service because obviously they have seen my post, my content in LinkedIn, and at some point of time, I thought like, okay, so the top metro earning is not much, I mean, it's a little bit. Then I realized I wanted to use something very, very meaningful for this amount of money, right? And then the one thing that struck me, I think, is as a childhood, when I was growing, Mero area, small town, even we live within the Kathmandu city, or it's actually a capital city. So you don't have to go far off capital city to see the life of the village or a small town, right? So in a way, our hometown where I grew up was not a big town at all. It was, in fact, we only have almost 35 to 35 houses of all the same demographics, right? So all Budhathoki families, 35 houses. Now I think we are the minority there because people start coming and leave, but that was the population there, and more or less same lifestyle of everyone, because you like you have a little bit of land, your parents are spending a little bit of time on the farming. Then my father had his own struggle, like doing stuff. And the community, there was a little bit of poor thinking. Now I say, is you need to have a son in a family, or at your poor thinking. Some of my, like family members, they have more kids than they can afford, just because they have daughters before the son.
Okay.
Right. And I'm hoping with time they have changed their mentality, or at least the things are changing. The reason things are changing is because the daughters who grew up, they're doing something, giving back to the family, right? So they are now shifting their mindset that, yeah, anyone can, I mean, regardless of it is a boy or a girl, they can help in our old age, or when that was the biggest stereotype. Back in Nepal, I think, in most of the family had that thought, right? And एउटा अर्को mentality के थियो भने, if you are a son, you go to the private school. If you're a daughter, you go to the public school or government school. And I don't know how that was rooted. I was completely wrong. And to this point, one thing I appreciate my dad is, like, I have two siblings, two daughters, my sisters, and then another son right after that. He sent everyone to same school. He didn't compromise. In fact, he was spending half of his paycheck on our school bills, but he didn't compromise, right? So that's good. And because maybe I have seen that there is, I know I'm not going to make a big difference. I cannot maybe cover for everyone who is in need, but even if it is a little bit of change I can do, right? So initially I thought, if I cannot do much, shall I even try to do it? Then a little bit will make a difference, right? So I connected with someone who is a part of one non-profit organization there, and say, hey, let's come up with a program where we can find or seek people who is in need, actual need, bring them, and then share their story with me, and we'll see how we can have some decision-making criteria, and we can afford their school fees, or at least the +2 fees. Because +2 in Nepal is like a little bit different than here. Like they will go to the high school and go to college. Ours have like until 10th grade, and from 10th grade you do another 2 years of the +2 and then go to undergrad, right? And actually, if we look at it, that 2 years actually saves a lot of things. That 10 +2, right? So it's hard for a lot of families if they cannot afford to a good school, and it's they may end up selecting the wrong career path in the undergrad, and that will save their entire career. So in fact, that 10 +2 is actually very, very good, crucial decision-making point in anyone's career. So I thought that 10 +2 I can cover for the folks we select. So far I did for 2, and I want to continue this. And it is immense feeling of gratitude that comes. When I started doing it, I never thought that giving will give me something back. And to this point, I will never think about what comes back if I give something. And I think it's probably growing up, my dad used to tell me that, hey, you have to always help who is in the need without expecting anything back. He used to give me an example of like the fruit trees. Those trees, they don't eat fruit themselves. Those trees grow the fruit for you. So, and I think it's important in life that when we give, even if we don't get anything tangible back, it doesn't really matter. The biggest feeling that you get, satisfying that you helped someone to save their career. Their parents, one of the kid, I mean, her parent actually sent me a note, and he got connected to the same person who did the selection and asked him to send that message to me, so, and it was very, very satisfying message. A lot of the families live over there like in a daily paycheck. We're not talking about weekly paycheck.
Yeah, day to day.
Daily paycheck, right? Yeah. So they make in the day. If they don't have that day for some reason, when there is a political crisis and that the day is the entire shutdown, then it's going to impact their life.
Yeah, true.
One of that goal was from a family where they have to rely on the daily paychecks, and I think it was very good feeling to have. And a lot of the people who use my service, when I tell them that this is where I'm using this for, they never do a second thought even to pay or. And in my service, sometimes there is like you can add additional money if you want, right? So, and every booking that I have so far, people have added money than what they are willing to pay.
Okay. I mean, even changing one life is great.
Yeah,
I think that's great thing. Yeah, another interesting. I was going through your post, and I think you are, I think the only person that I know or have met who has actually met Elon Musk. I don't know if that was a coincidence or something, but how did that happen, and how was it?
No, I didn't meet Elon Musk. The post that I made was actually kind of like when I met Elon Musk, in a way that I made an example that if Elon Musk walks into the bar, right, and then if that happens, then what is the like how we think about the numbers, right? So because if he walks into the bar, everyone's income suddenly changed, the median salary suddenly changed to $1 billion, right? Because we were probably like 10, 20 people sitting in the bar, right? So I kind of wanted to give that example and brought it up as a topic. So
I really thought that you had been in that bar and then,
I wish I had met him, but I haven't. But that was the incident. So I just wanted to give a message that when we think about the statistics and numbers, sometimes we are very, very blindsided by metrics. Like a lot of people use just average or mean to do a lot of these calculations, right? And they don't think about these outliers and anomalies and calculations, right? Whenever we do like house price prediction model, for example, if you don't think about these outliers, you might be considering the neighborhood where there are maybe 10, 15 multi-millionaire houses.
Yeah, true.
But on average, if you do that, then you'll skew your data.
Yeah. Average can skew the data.
Right? So
skew data.
And I have seen many calculations in that people are doing, not considering the good examples of the thought process. And then I thought, like, what kind of post I can write just to make sure that that statistics, if you don't use it right, is gonna bite you back, right? So. And I created that example.
It was very funny because I think that was one of your posts which hit 1 million, and you made a comment that this post is an outlier itself.
This post that post actually had 3 million impression.
Wow!
And then that post has 22,000 likes, or and a lot of people were like, I read it because I felt like you met Elon. And then your post gave a very strong message that a lot of times we make mistakes. Now I think. Before, I think there used to be a lot of job sites. They used to consider average salary for this role, and even today, some of the companies do that. But if they do it right, they consider the median salary rather than the average or mean salary, right? So, and that was just one simplistic form of me relaying the message that when people come to data science or they want to do the data analysis or anything, you need to have this other eyes open, or like think outside of the box, like what are you doing to even understand the data properly or the right way. And that actually example maybe touched many people that they are actually a lot of us are using the statistic wrong. That way it's probably got the fame.
And also, how was it getting featured in New York Times Square?
Oh wow, that was a story. Yes. So when I signed up for TopMate initially, the TopMate thing, there was I think they do it once a year, I believe, or twice a year. What they do is they will ask people to share their stories, and one of the criteria to share the story is to tag the TopMate, and then they count your how the impression the post is making, what is the reach the post is making, right? And in that base, they do this ranking within the TopMate itself, who is decided to participate in that program, right? I just made a post about switching from U.S. Army to military. From military career to the data science in Microsoft, and that was my, I think, second biggest post with the biggest impression, right after that Elon post, and I was number one training on the TopMate, right? And
that's crazy.
And considering that a lot of the other folks were actually from a bigger population area where they have, I think, 10 times more followers than me, right? Like, but my post was training, and then they decided, hey, you actually become the winner of this program to feature in the Times Square, and just share your story. Like we don't get much time. We get like maybe 10-15 seconds in the billboard, right? So just send us a couple pictures and what story you want to say. What are the people you want to thankful for? I think it was something like a thankful post that you want to be thankful against. And then, and then it's amazing that it was a little bit of emotional feeling for me. The reason is I first landed in New York, right? And JFK. I came a week before my college starts, so I wanted to stay with my friend who was already in the New York. So just looking in the movies, and New York is all about skyscrapers, right? Tall buildings and all. So I told him as soon as I landed, he's like, you want to get rest and we will go out tomorrow? I said, no, I'll go out this evening. Take me to Times Square. That's what I told him. And the very first day I landed in the US, he took me to the Times Square in the evening, and it was so lively, like you see all these billboards and all, and after a few years, and
you got featured.
I got featured in one of the billboard. I'm like, that was kind of emotional. That's why it touched me for sure.
Now I think I would also like to talk a little bit about your childhood. What I feel is, whatever we are as a person, it's the childhood that shapes us. It's the foundation of our lifestyle, or like who we become as a person, right? So I saw one of your posts where you said that from selling milk to working at Microsoft, right? So how was your childhood? How was your family? How was it growing up in one of the small towns or villages near Kathmandu, right? So can you give us like a brief glimpse of your childhood?
Of course. So my hometown is called Sobaheti. It's very near to Kusunti, and I think in the bigger spectrum we call it Kusunti. But as I said before, used to be the population of same ethnicity or same demographic like all the Budhathoki families, right? And because it's, even if it is not that you are related to that other person from your parents, like either family side, but since they kind of share the same heritage, we culturally kind of shaped in almost like a cohesion of living together. Like all those 35 families, we know what's going on with someone else's families, right? With things like that, and this is a small town. It was a very small town, and like I said before, my mom was more into the farming. She never even passed high school, and my dad was just a grade 10 graduate. He never go to +2 or anything. And this is what I think when I started sponsoring, I felt like the 10+2 is very career pivoting
Yeah.
thing. And because I've seen that in my own family, like my dad said that, hey, I may not be able to afford 10+2 because I wanted to continue working, for example. And right after school, he started working and never got back to align his own career, because after that he got married. And obviously in Nepal, still at that point of time, there was a tradition of getting married earlier, right? And I was the eldest son. With that, it comes with responsibility. I think I have two sisters, one 3 years younger than me, one 4 years younger than me. And then I have a brother who is 10 years younger than me. And then his mindset and mindset is completely different. We have obviously a decade gap. But growing up, I think few things I want to highlight is when you grew up in a family that is struggling in a way, because I was not a part of the rich family. I was even in the middle class. I would say probably below average, right? Mm-hmm. So my dad' intention was just how he's gonna give a better life for four of us. That was his thought process, and I can envision the stress, the burden, the financial, everything that he was going through. He feels like he is the sponsor of the whole family. And then I felt like, when can I help? The mindset agadiदेखि हल्का आउने रहेछ. Obviously, I was not in a position to help him right away with financial thing. But then I realized that maybe I can do whatever I can as an eldest son to help them out. And when you see that as a part of your daily life. And to this day, I remember my dad used to tell me that he hasn't seen me until I was, I think, 5-year-old, because he has seen me, but like we didn't interact it well, because when I talk to him, he says that one thing he misses about my childhood is the that year, first 5 years with me that he couldn't spend, because he used to leave at work so early in the morning that I was still sleeping. Mm-hmm. When he comes back home, I was already sleeping, right? So we never spent time playing or doing anything else. The weekends he also worked other side jobs to make extra money for the family. And maybe one thing that rooted on me was, if I look back, is resilience. It's like resilience is you have to, how do you fight back, right? Mm-hmm. If you're dropped down. I've seen my childhood that my dad was going through all this struggle. He was dropped down many times, right? He'd come up. He never followed everyone else but his own heart. Like he could have sent my sisters to also public school. He didn't do that. And you learn that from your parents, right? Or in your childhood, that you're gonna have to have the mindset of equality, right? You're gonna have to have sense of responsibility, right? Regardless of I was the eldest or the youngest, being the eldest forced me to be responsible. But those things matter. And scarcity, there's a popular saying, right? Like a hard time creates strong men, and strong men will create easy times. The easy times will create easy men, right? Yeah. So it's this kind of cycle. So, true. Yeah. And when you see that, I think my grandmother used to live with us, and she wanted that, hey, we have to have some sort of, her health condition was that doctor suggested her to drink milk every day, obviously in the old age, arthritic problem, and, a lot of these things. We own cows. So, and for her in the beginning, I was coming back to the story that you brought it up. And then we started having more milk than we consume. Okay. And this is where the business mindset comes in, right? My mom, even without having anything around sales or marketing or anything, she didn't know anything. She thought, if we don't consume everything, right? So she thought, like, maybe even within our family members, if we know the folks who wants to buy us from us, we can sell it. And that's how she made some pretty good customer base, I guess.
Yeah.
And I try to help her. So every morning, as I was probably 13, 14 years old, get up really early in the morning to carry that jar and then give and hand over the milk to those families, and then come back home and get changed to go to school. I think when you start doing that from your early age, there's a few things I learned. One is like, okay, I have to wake up in time to discipline myself. I cannot say I won't go tomorrow, because if my mom has to go and do it, she cannot come back and make food and get the kids ready for school. My father already went for work early in the morning, right? So now me doing that help for her, like one, we were kind of bringing a little bit of extra finance to the home. The other, she was getting extra time to put for other kids getting ready, and that is like, that's the story I shared, because I felt like nothing is there to hide in your life, right? I mean, it shaped me to grow into that person from the early childhood, right? We didn't have good water supplies in the house, because there used to be only once a week you used to get water, I mean, obviously people were digging the well and then having the well in their own house, but the main water supply from the government that used to come in our house, they used to probably release once a week, just because they have to meet other demands or something, right? And there were times, the reason our town is called Sobahiti is there is a public, what do you call the water?
Hiti is a tap.
Yeah, Hiti is a tap, right?
Yeah.
So, and they name it after that. There's a famous the water thing, and you go there, and then in Nepal, right? So there's a pot, right? Like it's called gagro.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
to pull the water.
Yeah. To pull the water.
Yeah.
It's a small size gagro that the vessel like my mom bought me, just because it's not too big that I cannot carry, and it's not too small that even if we go there and bring the water, 15 minutes of walk, it's no point, right? So it was a decent amount of size. And in the evening, when my mom used to get very busy in the farming and the field, she comes home late. So I thought maybe I can cook, regardless of what I can, I should try. So I started learning cooking, and I used to carry that gagro to the water line, walk 15 minutes with the water, And there was one point, my mom comes home and she saw me all crying, and then she asked me, and this is a very emotional thing. She asked me what happened, and when I got home, I got in the kitchen. It was dark, so I tried to turn on the light. By mistake, that water thing fell off my hand, and the whole water, the kitchen was flooded, and then the reason I was crying is like, today I'm gonna miss to cook. If I go back again, I can do it. But as a teenage guy, what you were thinking is like, you just miss the whole opportunity of doing it. My mom helped me clean that. It didn't take 15 minutes, more than 15 minutes, and I helped her clean up too. And we made it to the position where it was like before. She asked me that, and she walked with me to go back to the tap again, another 15 minutes walk, bring the water back again, we cook it again. And she taught me a life lesson that it may look bad, you may look sad, you may feel like everything dropped from your hand and you missed everything and you spoiled everything, and there's no correction to anything, but it can go back to the same status. It just takes time to clean up.
Yeah, true.
And it was, growing up like that and taking care of your sisters, as an elder brother, trying to guide your brother to a right direction as well. A lot of things, So I think I built that sense of responsibility and resilience, adapting to many things. And obviously all my area where I grew up, when you go talk to some people, you see that they are struggling more than us sometimes, right? When you go meet other people around the town, your own village, you do see a lot of people struggling more than you. And then And then that tells you that, yeah, you're not in a bad situation yet, right?
Yeah.
My dad used to tell me one story, and to this day it remains in my mind, is like, one time he told me, can you make this stick shorter with giving me only one stick? Right? And it was one of the, I don't know how, sometimes he has shared me so much of this kind of stories that remain with me. And I'm like, how can I cut it? He's like, no, you can't cut it, you can't do anything, And I said, I gave up as a kid, like, I cannot do it,
Yeah.
He just put a longer stick right next to it.
It's like relative measurement.
Yes, it's shorter now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in life is like that.
True.
के अरे अब के हो भन्दाखेरि यो रेकर्ड भइरहेछ होइन यो पनि भइरहेछ अनि त्यो माइक चाहिँ नि कस्तो भन्दाखेरि अहिले त्यो अहिले ग्रिन छ सकेन भने ब्रेक हुन्छ होइन तपाईँ हेरिदिनु त्यहाँबाट होइन अनि अफ भयो भने चाहिँ नि लाइक चार्ज गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ म चाहिँ जान्छु क्या सबै सेटअप ठिक छ होइन
अनि म सबै पज गरिदिन्छु
सबै पज गर्नु यो पज गरिदिनु लाइक अनि
अब 5 मिनेट मात्र
सकिन्छ
है म लाइक म जान्छु जो सबै सेटअपै छ होइन
हुन्छ
म अहिले सबै रेकर्डै भइरहेछ अनि लाइक सबै सकेपछि सबै पज गरिदिनु नि हुन्छ
अनि तिमी लिन आउ नि त कहिले लिन आउ
म आज बेलुका ढिलै काम अफ हुन्छ होला भोलि आउँछ नि मेरो भोलि 2 बजे अफ हुन्छ कि
ल मन्दिर घरमै हुन्छ
हुन्छ तपाईँ घर हुनु न होला
म भोलि काम गर्छु
हुन्छ है अनि फेरि लाइक भेट्नुपर्छ
हुन्छ भेट्नुपर्छ हुन्छ
ल दिपक ल हामी ट्युजडे भेट्छौँ होला
ट्युजडे
नभए ट्युजडे आए पनि हुन्छ सिधै
ट्युजडे के छ र
हामी सुट गऱ्यो भने
ए ट्युजडे
गऱ्यो भने
ओके हुन्छ नत्र म पर्सि लाइक भोलि काम सकाएर
यहाँ बस्नु हुन्छ
है हुन्छ सबै छ लाइक जोस अल्लाह चाहिँ वाच गर्नुपर्ने केही पनि छैन त्यो तपाईँ सक्यो भने
सक्यो अब लास्ट अब एन्डिङ स्टेटमेन्ट मात्रै
ल है त ल
Nuzi, I think you had a really great support system with the family. Your dad taught you resilience and the way you took care of your siblings,
right.
and the way your mom handled finances with the limited amount of education she had. So I think those were all the great foundations that you had, which made you who you are today, right? So that's really great. So anything that you would like to say to your viewers, to your listeners, to your supporters, or anyone new who's listening to you, right? Or the people of your area, to your family members, that you want to be thankful, grateful, any message that you want to give.
Right, yeah. Of course, yeah. So I wouldn't have been here without that support system you just mentioned, right? So even my parents were not, literate enough to guide me in my career. Like, you do this, you choose this career path, go do this degree, right? It might help you in a career. So that kind of career related suggestions or guidance didn't came directly, but there are a lot of things that they were teaching me, right? To be a successful person in life in future. So that means when we think about a lot of things, it doesn't really have to, you don't see the impact right away. Right? And we live in a world where everything, we are so much result driven, metrics driven. We want to see it right away. And that doesn't happen in life. And that's one of the things I learned myself is the things that we learn in life, the return of investing your time with the people, you giving back, all of these things somehow ultimately will shape you, your journey. You will touch, create the impact. Some of them you may see right away. Some of them you may not see right away. All you have to do is not give up, When I was here, obviously, I came here with a big dream of getting into the big tech or good companies to work. Never considered I will be data scientist one day. I never considered I'll be part of Microsoft someday. So this kind of baby steps we take in the life to get to your goal matters, right? Military was not even in my career plan. It was a detour in my career, but it ended up being one of the best decisions I made, right? Yeah. So when we are in a situation where we only see darkness, in a way, it is there to test you. It is there to shape you as a better person. It is there to help you succeed in a way. we hear a lot of stories about success and failure. I tell actually a lot of my mentees that everyone in the social media only shares the good things, right? LinkedIn, I see a lot of posts about people getting a job. They're like, hey, I just started with this position, and then, but with that single post, what is the struggle behind?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody shares that, right?
No.
So everyone has every big success news that people are putting out there, it had a story behind itself. That is one reason I started sharing the things where I talk about the struggle in my life. I talk about how vulnerable I was in some point of time. I talk about what was my hardest moment in life, not because I wanted to expose myself, just to get some impression or views. But for me, I wanted to see that if someone is reading that and they can align, or they can say, okay, this story kind of resonate with me. And then if they help them to overcome, if they are going through the hard times, for me, even if I don't see that impact, I feel like it's a good thing I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
And that is the whole reason, as we talked before, and giving doesn't need to have a cause.
Yeah, true.
So for everyone, I think when I grew up, people telling me that, hey, like something may have stick to my mind, right? So to help me shape my career today, my life partner, she has helped me with my ups and downs. My kids today, I think, help me to motivate me to do something, every day. Everyone, your parents, even my in-laws today, when they are living with us, they treat me as a son. There's no relation barrier, and I think the biggest win in your life is the people who surrounds you, and that defines you as a person, I guess.
Yeah.
What is your surrounding, right? So, and I'm thankful to every one of them. Yeah.
And that's great. And to end this episode, I have a hypothetical question. There is no right answer to it, right? Sometimes I feel this world is kind of chaotic because of whatever that's going on, because of all the wars or all the bad things that's happening around, right? If you would have to imagine an ideal world, what would be an ideal world to you?
Yeah, that's a great one. It is really tough to understand why someone had a ton of struggle, why someone don't have it. Like, everyone's life is different in a way. I think for me, one thing, if I have to bring it up, would be if it's possible that everyone has a same equal opportunities to begin with. I mean, not afterwards, right? To begin with, if nobody has a head start, for example, right? I mean, why there is a barrier of US being the well-developed, Europe being the well-developed countries versus developing or underdeveloped countries, right? Ultimately, it's a global ecosystem that decides which country is poor, which country is rich, And it's nothing to do with a child who gets born in that country, right? So if someone is currently getting born here in the US, he's a US citizen right away. He or she is a US citizen back home. So there is always same person A, person B having the same time birth in the US and Nepal, for example. Let's take Nepal as an example because I started my career there, right? You started your career there. So we have a longer battle to get to the same point in a way, and and that not only puts us in the back foot, but also we need more energy to go that far, right?
Yeah, true.
In anything, like energy could be from opportunities for everything. So I believe like there shouldn't be any kind of norm or any kind of thinking about head start, why someone has to have it, right? In military, we were told that any time everyone gets evaluated with the same thing. Like if we talk about our physical test, like they do in the beginning, everyone starts at the same point. Everyone gets the same 2 minute, to evaluate to how much you can perform. Everything is same, right? So if it is not, in data science we call it if we run 2 experiments in a different environments, that is not the same experiments, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
When we set up the experiments, for example, if we have to compare whether product A or product B performs better, it comes to the A/B testing experimentation. All the external factors has to remain same. All the other variables, we call it the confounding variables, remain same. Now, if you think about in our life spectrum, if we can keep that all other variables same, and if that 2 experiment for that 2 person A and person B won in this with the same opportunity without anything to lose, then it will be different. I think the world will be different, I guess. Because it's a hypothetical ideal world, I don't think we reach there, but if we can, I think that will be my thing. Someone is already born with the big burden of getting to that point versus the starting together, right?
True.
So,
yeah, I completely agree. And they say talent is equally distributed. It's the opportunity which nurtures the talent, right? So
it is. Yes.
Yeah, I hope one day, like the child that is born gets the same opportunity, and there's no head start for some, and a big burden for someone to get along in his walk of life.
Yes.
So, Nirmalji, thank you for joining. It has been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
And thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I think after a long time, I went back to my childhood. All the memories were coming back to me, and I wish you all the success for this podcast and doing the right thing. You're sending a message somehow to the folks, and it is my extreme pleasure to be here today and share my story. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
It went really good.
Really good. एकदमै रमाइलो भयो.